Regional Sanitation Conference with the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra. The Clean Conference bringing together government, development partners, traditional authorities, industry players, academia, civil society, young people and all Ghanaians. Change is not only in conference rooms, so there will be a cleanup exercise on Saturday, 22nd August 2026, also led by the Chief of Staff. Join thousands of volunteers for this massive cleanup exercise across the major streets of Accra. Metro Clean Conference. Wahuni diema on Maini Tumpo.
When you ask me what is your bad day, it's the day my mom died and the day former President Mahama destroyed my company. When you ask me what is your bad day, it's the day my mom died and the day former President Mahama destroyed my company. I said, me, President Mahama, want to talk to me about what? He said, yes, you are invited to the castle to meet him. The time I reached there, all my company documents and everything was there.
Was in front of the president?
It's in front of him. You know, so that type of relative was there, and there was a guy.
Beblo Latte, the then National Security Coordinator.
Yes, was there, and his brother.
Which brother?
Peter Mahama was there.
Peter, yeah.
And the one they look alike, Alfred,
yeah.
Alfred Mahama was there, and some few people was there. Then Then he asked me, young man, how did you get all this money? I have all your documents. And I said,
how did you get all this money?
Yeah. Because all my documents. So he said, tell me the truth. And I said, I have nothing to hide. You know, for you to be small or big, you know, you have to work. So my work, the job that I do is a mining. I have a legitimate concession called Hansol and Akunta mining. So this is my document, and I have expatriates that they also work for me, and yeah. So he started opening it. So he asked me, okay, tell me about mining. So I told him mining is not a bad thing. Every country need a mining. If you have a resources, you need it to develop here, but you have to regularize it or make a good policy for it. But to me, I have a legitimate lances they have signed for me. This is my lances. So he see everything through. Then he said, oh, this guy, you are too smart. So he touched me on the June 2013 June.
How did this conversation end before he touched you? This Tamale conversation, how did it end?
He told me that, young man, you are too intelligent. I want you to come to NDC to support me. And then I said to him,
you're speaking on the national platform. President Mahama,
I'm saying it because the time,
or his people are listening.
Listen, the time
you have to be sure that what you're saying is correct.
I will never lie. One to me will never lie, and he knows. The time I went there, I went there with now he's a Bosontri MPP chairman. You know, he was following me that time. Anywhere I go, he's the person. So I went there with him.
Why in Tamale did this meeting happen?
The residency.
Oh, the regional minister's residence.
Yes, the residency. That's the place.
That's where usually the presidents go when they go to Tamale.
Yeah. No, he cannot say he didn't meet me. He cannot.
No, but did he tell you that you should come and support the NDC?
Oh yes, of course. It's normal. It's normal to tell the businessman if he have money, you know, to say, come and support me.
Okay. So what did you say to that before the meeting ended?
I said to him, to me, I see politics as a religion. The place I come from, you know, even if you have money, you know, even if you have power and you have money and you don't belong to MPP, you know, it's very dangerous. The problem is not only about the royalties, and I think we should think beyond that and help ourselves. We have foreign investors who have large-scale companies, and we also have local companies who also own large-scale companies. It's very difficult for local large-scale companies to have investors. So, without the Ghanaian local large-scale company, for the government supporting them, it will be difficult for the Ghana government to reach their goal, because the important tool in mineral is not only about money, but it starts from the land. Every land is a land. So far as the land is in Ghana, I think it's an opportunity for Ghana government. I have seen MEF here. I think they have to help the local Ghanaian large-scale companies so that they also can have enough funds to do drillings and know the specific the gold minerals in a specific area. And once
When you ask me what is your bad day, it's the day my mom died and the day former President Mahama destroyed my company.
Of the New Patriotic Party, we've attempted as much as possible to get Hoggy Batidankwa to share.
Since 1992 to 2026, where we are now, between the MPP and the NDC, the fact still remains that the MPP is the only political party that has evidence of clear-cut monumental legacies for this country. That is without lie. That is fact. You can't debate it. Legacy. Legacy. You see, every government builds schools, so we don't count that. Every government builds roads, so that is not a big deal. Every government will build markets. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about a government that will bring development that every Ghanaian everywhere will benefit. The kind of development that if you are in Ajeso, or you are in Faraway or Yoko, or you are in Sisala, or you are in Pusiga, you will benefit.
Bam. 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 Asa. Asa. Asem when they be make a NDC government. Asem why ye miracle sabuaje ekin. Sa asem we ene dey be make a NDC government. Say the legacy to her. NDC ni communicator, NDC ni supporter. On the MPP ni ye debate, ye politics. Obetumi just a legacy ni so. And this MPP ni na yes our politics no enye nkokon ketenkete a ye de aba ye kumnewi legacy na make ho asem no legacy na make ho asem no eno na America sabuaje can you je legacy a obi wo Kofolidia obi wo Accra obi oho obi wo North obi wo Volta Obo, Babia Ghana, ewo biala, the legacy ebe benefited the whole Ghana. Do you have evidence? Did NDC government ewo legacy benefited the whole Ghana na mibisa? NDC ine RTC, womu legacy benefited and that's say womu janto ho. Amana benefited the whole Ghana da. They be that woman nibi. They don't have that legacy. And it's a make catch a President John Dramani Mahama say, "Sa 24 hours economy policy no. And your legacy can see over to me jato ho, but woman nim kwanya woman be fast or woman be sa 24 hours economy market no. Obi biala na jinimu ya ha. Ghana ni biala na jinimu eye ha. Only obi who say government be ye road, government be see schools, government be see hospitals. Sa ni pana na jinimu ya hano. Ono no who say sa government ni ye bibi say ya. Ebe ye no nwanwa, ebe surprise no. Yes. Obi biala na jinimu ya ha. Eno who ni say government be ye road. Government be see schools, government be see hospitals. Sani mpakwana na dwene ya hano ebeye ne nwanwa obehu ni say government ne ya ade a ebi nsi da. Sani mpakwana na dwene ya ha because sa road ne hospitals na o government ne ye na wo di praise wo ho no na wure fi say government be so betena aso or ye the same thing esa so the legacy kese ka ho e pay so e de ma because me metie wontimi nka nkyerem say US ni America ni kwa akoto aba ayi pahini mana bedi ni so a obekoto na aba de ama pahini a anaso say politician na One de ne botaye hia ne say obeye school, obeye road, obeye hospital, there is no American citizen obedwene sa adwene because woman him say road ni schools ni ade no eye national asset eye upo wumpo eye wasede aban bia po ababia po wo betena so a eye wasede but US ni an American ni to aba or to aba dia ma obi obeba betena so na wa man nneoma mu ayefo nneoma mu aye easy technology ni be ba o minim na benefit no na nye road enye hospital sie enye road enye hospital sie enti we yan this ni communicator. How can you defend this? How can you defend this? How can you stand in front of this person? How can you debate? We yan this ni communicator. How can you debate this policies? How can you debate miracles? How can you debate? You can never debate because you don't have concrete legacy. You don't have. What faili or mine what faili? Because you don't deserve. Who deserve say Ghana kurabem ebema indisi abetenaso. You don't deserve because sa what person who get legacy a. Nanki ye hunu deda. Eko 3 years, eko 2 years. Who get legacy bia. Onya wadwene say who be get legacy. So what faili? O policy ni ade a wo de buy no. What faili? So you need to go and sit down. Pack your things and go and sit down and let the people who leave legacy to this country remain and control the system for us. That's all. That's all. Because you are more 30 something years. As at now, we need legacy be a sebi yo NDC ni akwala sorry obetimi die tu no say me party a me dwen no and o just legacy way. My friend, shut up. Shut up. Shut your mouth up. Ye pesi be a studio. Wo person support ye studio no. Yes sir. DMM na be support ye. Mo pia.
Mommy, good morning.
Good morning, my son. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Mom. How about you?
I'm fine.
Joe, I just saw your mom doing her usual morning routine. Like, it was just 2 weeks she underwent a major colon surgery.
Bro, see, my mom is doing perfectly fine, and we're all excited about it. It was minimally invasive surgery, and the recovery has been very fast.
Minimally? Hey! No, wait. What do you mean by that?
So they offered my mom a laparoscopic colon surgery. Laparoscopic colon surgery,
hey,
which we accepted. It turned out it was equally safe with a very fast recovery time, and the cost involved too was very, very reasonable. She was discharged 3 days after the surgery, and you can see her, she's on her feet again.
3 days?
Just 3 days, bro.
Mintuba Hospital, first Ghana colorectal center, aimed to serve a peculiar health need.
Madam, I'm looking for Abena.
Abena, there is someone looking for you.
Madam, please, where's Abena?
Abena, yes, ma'am. Is this who you are looking for?
Madam, please get me Abena. Please.
Della. Abena, bra.
Oh, Abena. It's not Abena rice. Eat any of that. Remove.
Abena rice. And Nijin Kwa.
FDA. Finding my dream apartment in just 2 days was a breeze with 7terragh.com. Looking for your next home, the perfect piece of land, or the best commercial property for your business? Are you worried about sending money home for property and finding nothing when you return? Well, worry no more. 7terragh.com is just a platform to find prime lands, perfect properties, or vibrant real estate development at the click of a button. 7terragh.com is your go-to property listing platform that allows you to register, list, rent, buy or sell, and connect with correct agents. With our AI-powered smart search, personalized dashboards, verified agent connection, and interactive property maps, all your property needs have been made easier. Check us out on 7terragh.com or contact us on 0302-998-246 or 0561 032 252. 7terragh.com, powered by MNC Properties.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, a who be here, Samecha Sapapadia to a mammy man for Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is several buying, a man is swing, Nesansu Mama Hoto so a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Today's class is going to be an exciting one. Now, who can share an unforgettable moment in their life? Okay, Asempa.
I'd like to talk about my first time. It was her natural look, complemented by her favorite green silky apparel that caught my attention. I have to say, she automatically possessed me with her smile, which exposed her beautiful white teeth. That's not all, her enduring signature perfume could be smelled from afar. Madam, why do you look so surprised? My first time with her was special and irresistible. I'm talking about Cindy Rice. Cindy Rice can be found in selected supermarkets nationwide.
Cindy Rice, sweet aroma, great taste. This advert is FDA approved.
From the rich soils of Ghana, our farmers grow the finest ingredients. We clean, hand select, and carefully craft into bold, unforgettable flavors. And when you open our little bag of big taste, it's pure, bold, unforgettable flavor bursting in every bite. Enjoy the goodness, made with big care. This advert is FDA approved.
Can he tee up someone in red?
That's who goal is for. I be the real goat. Chairman, what's the real goat?
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
We are talking about beat. Let's be the goat. My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Proudly produced by Casa Preco PLC. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years. Not recommended for pregnant women and lactating mothers. Don't drink and drive. This advert is FDA approved.
TV, Original TV, Original FM, and Metro Digital, under the auspices of the Office of the Chief of Staff, proudly present the Clean Conference 2026 under the theme Assessing Ghana's Progress Towards UN SDGs Agenda 2030. SDG 6, Clean Water and Sanitation, SDG 7, Clean Energy, and SDG 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Friday, 21st August 2026, 9 a.m. at the City Conference Hall, University of Ghana, Legon, Accra. With just 4 years to achieve the UN SDGs 2030, how far has Ghana come? The answers begin with one national conversation, the Metro and Original Sanitation Conference, with the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra. The Clean Conference, bringing together government, development partners, traditional authorities, industry players, academia, civil society, young people, and all Ghanaians. Change is not only in conference rooms, so there will be a cleanup exercise on Saturday, 22nd August 2026, also led by the Chief of Staff. Join thousands of volunteers for this massive cleanup exercise across the major streets of Accra. Metro Clean Conference, Wahuni Diema on Mine Tumpong.
Hello, good evening, welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure to come to you again. Tonight we have a lot of fireworks going on, and as usual, there's a story from court. The Accra High Court today also had a combat to settle. Abdul Wahab Hanan was in court today at the end of the prosecution from the government. He is at the end of the prosecution because he is being prosecuted by the Attorney General. Now, something big happened in courts today, and if you look at our flyer, those of you may have seen it on social media, we said that Hanan's lawyers flattened Seremsai again. Why did we say that? We're going to give you a full brief of what happened at Accra High Court, what the judge said, what Seremsai has been asked to do, and why is he having so many pitfalls on the way to prosecuting Hanan. It started with a case that was then withdrawn by him, and then it was brought back. When it was brought back, the charges were reduced, and the bail bond was actually also reduced. They had to go back and reduce the charges. Then when they came in with a new one, during case management, the Deputy Attorney General had unsigned witness statements which offended the judge and asked him to go and do it again. Witness statements were not signed. Then eventually he got them signed, and then he comes back with the charge sheets. And today the High Court said some of the charge sheets, some of the charges on the charge sheet cannot stand, and therefore he has to go and amend. The defense counsel wanted that to be struck out completely for the whole process to start again, because here's an Attorney General who's taking taxpayers' money and missing his steps in the job that he's expected to be able to perform creditably. What is going on? Why is Seremsai not able to get some basic things right? We'll be discussing that in detail. I will show you the things that he didn't get right, and you can tell us whether these are basic or they are not basic. So that's our big story coming up today. Also, Mr. Justice Atuguba, a former Supreme Court judge and the presiding judge of the election petition won in 2013, has been talking. He had a lot to say, and someone had written an article, read it to you, about what he feels about the presentation of the learned judge. The Supreme Court judge was also concerned that after election, people that he had helped to win the election were no longer picking his calls. He was very disappointed, and many people who heard him were also disappointed that the learned Supreme Court judge took the occasion of a solemn ceremony to honor the first and one of the best speakers of the Parliament of the Fourth Republic, Mr. Justice D.F. Annan, himself a former Court of Appeal judge, Justice Annan, and he took the occasion of being given the honor to deliver the first Justice Annan lecture to now lament about his personal problems with politicians who were not picking his phone calls. He also made statements about the conduct of Parliament. Mr. Justice Atuguba suggested that the Parliament sitting over there, the 276 members with NDC controlling 2/3 and more of it, are not there to do anything for Ghana. They are working for themselves. I wonder whether some of the independent candidates like Kwame A. had heard the Justice Tuguba commentary about what Parliament is actually doing. That's a big matter. We're going to go to it as well tonight. Muhammadu Bawumia has come up for public discussion because he says, don't prosecute anybody in my name. I'm not here to catch people who are insulting me or who are saying things about me. That's for you people. I don't mind. I'm focused on my work. So don't go and arrest anybody and say that he was insulting Dr. Bawumia, so you have arrested him. He doesn't want anyone to be arrested for insulting him. You can arrest people when they insult other people who want those people to be arrested, but certainly not Muhammadu Bawumia. So that's very important. We're going to look at the statement. It's come up for controversy, and some people think that Dr. Bawumia shouldn't have said that because the words of the TikToker were so harsh that a TikToker needs to be punished. Bawumia is not interested. He says, I'm focused on what I'm doing. So we will be looking at that as well. And then we are continuing with the Wontumi story. There's a very brilliant article that's been written by one of the members of the Ghana Bar Association about his understanding of the whole court case of the Wontumi matter. We had put our understanding out on Tuesday. You saw it. We still have the video. Maybe when we have a break, we'll play it for you again for those who didn't see it. But that's where we are on Good Evening Ghana tonight. Let's begin though with some Kokonsa video. Professor J.E.A. Mills, the third president of the Fourth Republic, unfortunately passed on 24th July 2012. Yesterday, the faithfuls of the National Democratic Congress and one MPP member, Professor Frimpong Boateng, converged at the UPSA Auditorium at East Legon in Accra to remember and to celebrate the legendary professor of law and an expert in taxation who was both vice president and president of Ghana. This occasion was attended by many. Conspicuously missing, of course, was President Mahama with a good explanation. But apart from President Mahama, anybody who was anybody in NDC is there. Ato Ahoy was there. Kwame Ahoy was there. Julius Debra, the chief of staff, I believe, led the government delegation. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, the chairman of the party and the would-be presidential candidate of the party for 2028, was also there. I saw Commander Asasi Jima, and I was very excited to see him. Commander Asasi Jima, the naval commander that we grew up with in Burma camp. He was a very feared security operative in those days, Commander Asasi Jima. His name brought shivers to our spine. Today I see him as a very young, old but looking very young, and he still kept his bushy hair. Commander Asasi Jima. Say hello to him for me if you know. Tell him that I cannot forget our days in Burma camp. Commander Asasi Jima. Still on Burma camp, I saw also Larry Bevlo Latte, the infantry officer who was very respected back in the day. He became the commanding officer of the 64 Infantry Battalion after Major Dan Michaud, and Bevlo was very close to Fly Lieutenant Rawlins, and I believe he began to nurture his politics over there. He became a big member of the NDC, thought about running for parliament at some point, but Bevlo was particularly instrumental during the Mills era, where he was the national security advisor. Like Bevlo Latte was also Latupsa. But I'm mentioning all these names to tell you the occasion and the pomp that surrounded this event. Johnson Asiedu Nketia decided to use this occasion to show who in NDC he loved and who in NDC he didn't love. Social media is awash with videos where Asiedu Nketia deliberately walks past Julius Debra without shaking his hand. Johnson Asiedu Nketia is a very serious man. He knows who his enemies are and who his enemies are not. I didn't see Kesel Atuforsen at the event. I guess he must have been preparing for what he did today in Parliament, presenting the mid-year review budget. So Atuforsen was not there. But from the way Johnson Asiedu Nketia treated Julius Debra, if Atuforsen was there, he would have gotten a big slap from the party chairman. Viewers, I'm going to take you back to the UPSA auditorium and we're going to watch this video, okay? And look at Asiedu Nketia's body language. My producers have done an excellent job where it gets to the place where we want to point it out to you. They kind of slow the video down so that you can see it properly. Johnson Asiedu Nketia took the politics of campaign to the Mills auditorium where everyone was there to celebrate Professor Mills. Asiedu Nketia was there to celebrate Professor Mills, but he clearly had other ideas. This is the video. Have a look. people will see that he's shaking Asiedu Nketia. So this is where it begins. That's Julius. Julius Debra is seated behind this man in blue that Asiedu is drawing attention to. He gets a handshake, and the guy gives him a warm embrace, a true party faithful embracing his national chairman. Okay, video continues. Asiedu Nketia takes one step. Then he takes two steps. He's in a conversation with this man. Oh, this video is not bringing the Julius Debra picture. I'm sure it is coming. Okay, so there's Julius Debra seated. Yes, that's Julius Debra seated in the blue political suit. Asiedu Nketia conveniently walks behind those men, does not even turn his head to the right. Because if Asiedu turned his head to the right, he will make eye contact with Julius. He doesn't. He moves on and shakes Hannah. Is it Hannah Tete? Or his sister? I'm not sure, but there's one of the Tete ladies. And then the other people continue to engage with Julius Debra. I said Julius Debra is next to this man. Yes, that's Julius Debra now with his head bowed. I believe he's looking at his phone. John Mahama is sending him a text and telling him that, come quickly to the Jubilee House, let's do our work. How haven't you finished with the Mills event? And he's texting and saying that chairman is here. He didn't even shake my hand. So this is the video. Do you want to start the video again? Let's take our viewers through it well. We didn't quite get the Julius Debra face to face, but you will see Asiedu Nketia's deliberate effort. So there comes Johnson, the Asiedu, the Nketia, the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, the ruling party. It was Johnson who has brought NDC to power by delivering 57% of the vote to John Dramani Mahama. However, John Mahama doesn't want to talk to him these days, and he's not supporting his bid to be the presidential candidate of the party. So I believe this Commodore Steve Obimpe, is that him in the blue? I'm guessing. So if it's him, then he looks very well. Commodore Steve Obimpe is quite elderly, but it just could be him. So there he goes. Yeah, this is why Asiedu Nketia should stop and shake hands with the chief of staff. But he decides that he's not interested. He walks behind another person, then he goes to another person, and then he goes to another person. So viewers, what do you make of this gossip? This is pure concern at the beginning of Good Evening. I want to lighten you up before we start the fireworks. Johnson Asiedu Nketia has done his things again. He did not shake hands with Julius Debra. What is happening to the National Democratic Congress and its leadership contest? Has it gotten this bad? Has it gotten to the point where they don't even want to shake hands with each other? But that's the story of Johnson Asiedu Nketia and Julius Debra. Let's come back to the studio and start with today's news. Earlier today, Kaisel Atuforsen, the Minister for Finance and, is it still Finance and Economic Planning? These days you have to catch up because they change a lot of things very frequently. But it used to be called Finance and Economic Planning. I'm guessing it's the same. So he went to Parliament to do a review of the budget. I was very careful to listen to the budget statement. I listened to it on radio because I was waiting to hear what he would say about Nkoko Nkiti. And lo and behold, to my utter disappointment, the finance minister did not mention Nkoko Nkiti. He didn't mention Nkoko Nkiti. He spent time on the agriculture ministry and told Parliament how much money had been paid to agriculture in all kinds of ways. But he didn't say how much money had been paid to Nkoko Nkiti. He didn't say anything about it. And that's what I was waiting for. And I was quite disappointed that he was running away from the battle. The battlefield for a finance minister who's going into Parliament soon after Ghanaians have been told that a whooping 200 million may have been blown away by party executive who collected Nkoko Nkiti, and instead of rearing them so that Nkiti becomes Bibre, they didn't do that. They ate up the Nkiti, and therefore the Nkiti went into their stomach and is gone. And so we cannot graduate from Nkoko Nkiti to Nkoko Bibre because that's it, they've eaten it up. And there was a big smear on the face of the NDC because the Agric minister spoke off the cuff in Parliament, and many NDC people felt that the way he put it was quite bad. It was almost denigrating the government as a cabinet minister. So I was expecting the finance minister to perhaps clean it up a little bit by saying something, giving some data, some statistics, even if it had been churned out, whatever it is, give some data about what is happening with Nkoko Nkiti. But he didn't. He dodged it completely. What struck me, though, is that at the end of the finance minister's presentation, and you have to give credit to Atuforsen, he was on his feet for 2 hours or so delivering the address, and he delivered it, especially towards the end when he was talking about paid. He tried to create a recital about we have paid. He mentioned something and said, it is paid, it is paid, it is paid. He didn't say Nkoko Nkiti, and I think that the verve and the strength that he used to end the speech was quite good, so you can appreciate that. But what was even better, when he finished, the indefatigable Alex Markin mounted the floor, and my goodness, for the 9 minutes of Alex Markin's presentation in his review to the budget, you would have to applaud Alex Markin. Very, very quality brain. The minority did an excellent work in presenting their review side. Later on, Kojo Oponkroma was much, much better. And Mohammed Amin Ante press conference was called later on. What I'd like to show you, though, at the beginning of this show, so that we can deal with the other matters, is Alex Markin's super response to Kesilato Forson's budget. Let's go now live to Parliament, and here's Alexander Markin on his feet speaking after the finance minister had given his budget presentation. Markin speaks for the minority.
The finance minister has just told this house that the true character of a finance minister is not determined by how much he spends. Such a statement must cause palpitation among ministers of state. Mr. Speaker, basically what he is telling all ministers that he is not going to spend, he is not going to release funds to you. Mr. Speaker, already you are suffering and you've been redundant in your various ministries. His deputy minister told the nation that 1.6 billion was released to the Agric minister. Today, he says only 1.1 billion. You see, the true measure of a finance minister is not how much he spends. Mr. Speaker, throughout his review, there was no policy announcement for the cocoa sector. The 4 million farmers, the 4 million cocoa farmers are suffering. This finance minister, since he took over as a supervising minister responsible for cocoa, we have seen suffering and wailing, and he comes here to lament. Mr. Speaker, he talks about determining the true cost of economic policy. The true cost. He's talking about having met some debt. What he has forgotten, that he refused good counsel from the minority. When Gold Board and Bank of Ghana charges on the gold for reserve policy was at 15%, we cautioned. He didn't listen. Later, IMF forced them to reduce it to 9%. 3 days ago, the governor announced that he was no more going to participate in this gold for reserve. It's too late in the day. You've already incurred losses of 9.6 billion. That is what the IMF told you. And you come here, you're saying prudent management of the economy. Really? Mr. Speaker, this review is full of English with empty payment. The payment, he said, is done. He said they've done some payment. Why didn't he give us details? You paid your party members. You paid your party members. The monies have gone to your party members. And Mr. Speaker, the Nkukon Kitinkiti project has now become protein.
Our members, I insist we listen to each other in silence.
The Nkukon Kitinkiti has become protein for your party executives. They are all cooking akukon kwai. It is now akukon kwai. Mr. Speaker, I want the finance minister to walk the talk. If you come here and you say 24-hour market, 24-hour market at 42 million cities, and you've abandoned the Agenda 111. The hospitals, that should be your priority. You are not constructing the hospitals. Then you are spending a whooping sum of 42 million, and you say you release 80% to the assemblies. Mr. Speaker, meanwhile, you are using the assemblies their own allocation to pay for the 24-hour economy. When there are no hospitals, how do you say you are constructing markets? Mr. Speaker, this review is uninspiring. There is no inspiration. What we are experiencing in this country is persecution, persecution, persecution. For the first time, we are seeing political imprisonment. One to me is a political prisoner. Mr. Speaker, Camilla Al-Hassan, a young mother of 3, is also a political prisoner, telling you how intolerant you are, and you are here telling us you are running an economy. You want this to be a one-sided parliament. When people criticize you, you threaten them. A lot of my MPs here have been threatened. You are threatening members of parliament with prosecution. Let me serve a warning to the Attorney General that the ravening clouds shall no longer be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. Be careful. 2028, you'll be in opposition. 2028. If you are not careful, Mr. Speaker, if you don't stop now, you will go and meet Wontumi there, and Wontumi will be out, and you will go in. So I'm advising you, let us all be measured. We welcome the reforms by the finance minister, and for the first time, he did something patriotic by acknowledging the digitalization reforms we introduced in government payments. Today he has acknowledged it. Mr. Speaker, we commend you for acknowledging MPP. We commend you, but you can do better. Tell your government to free all political prisoners. Dr. Atu Forson, tell your government to free all political prisoners. Wontumi deserve justice. Camilla Al-Hassan deserve justice. The MPs behind me that you have lined them up for persecution. Listen, you can decide to imprison every MP. It will not shut us down. We will criticize you. We will hold your feet to account, and we'll make sure you account for every city you spend. But you know what? The good news is that you are on your way to opposition. You are on your way to opposition. So you should begin thinking. You should begin thinking deep. Because there is one cells, is one prison will not be locked up. It will open widely for you. It will swallow many of you. From what we are seeing in public procurement, your situation will be worse. So be careful, those of you who are comfortable. And finally, you claim you want a third term. Third term. You are not performing. You say third term. Atu Forson, you are here presenting a budget, and beneath it is a third term agenda where you are going to spend money for people to be calling for third term. We are watching you with eagle eyes. Third term, focus on 24-hour economy. You promise 1 job, 3 shifts. You promise industrialization. Ghanaian businesses have lost confidence in you. You cancel the 1D, 1F, which was creating opportunity for the private sector. In its place, no policy alternative. Electricity tariffs have gone up over almost 30%. Then you get up, you say you are promoting 24-hour economy. You have sacked public sector workers. Many of the Ghanaian youth lost their jobs. You sacked them. Today you are here. Instead of promising to restore them into their rightful places in the job market, you are not doing so. Then you come, you say we should praise you. Who is going to praise you? If you don't pay and you are holding the money, and then you are there tightening belt and only paying your party members, then we should praise you. We are not interested in the books. We are interested in the economy in our pockets. People are suffering, Mr. Speaker. People need jobs. Your youth, even your MPs, they are praising you here. A lot of them are hungry. Your backbenchers, they can't go back home. Your backbenchers, and you hear you say we should praise you. We will not praise you. It is the same old story. Asem Dadana, Mrs. Sai, again, Asem Dadana, Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Alex Afenyo Markin Did you see that very spirited performance of the minority leader? When you are on the side of truth and you are on the side of right, you will have a spirited performance. Did you see how the finance minister was looking at him? He couldn't really help himself. But everything Afenyo said was true. People are not being paid. Finance minister says, I don't want to spend. I don't want to spend. And people are not being paid. Alex Mackey, congratulations. That was a great job as a minority leader, delivering what we all need and what the nation needs. You have been a great catalyst to this democracy, and you are going to be recorded as one of the best minority leaders in the history of the Fourth Republic. You still have some time to catch up with J.H. Mensah, but given the way you have started, and we are only in the halfway through the term, I believe that by the time you close, you most likely, we pray for you, you'll be able to surpass the very good work of J.H. Mensah from 1996 to 2000 that catapulted the NPP to power. Most of the psychology that brought the NPP to power in 2000 was aided by the narration and the advocacy of Mr. J.H. Mensah, who was the minority leader. And Afenyo Markin has stood in that great stead, and it looks like he's building upon it. Today's response to the budget was just excellent. It was stupendous. Here's Afenyo Markin again. I'm going to show you Afenyo Markin again, where we have extracted the wound to me matter. And he's talking about it. I think it's great. I think it's good. It's really, really very good. I see in the background Patrick Boama and second DMP. And I see this is the Deputy Finance Minister. Kwame Abuja, the roads minister. Oh, Abuja, he's doing the roads. I heard Atufosun talk about the expressway. They should hurry up so that we can go to Kumasi in 2 hours. We missed going to Kumasi in 2 hours back in the day. They should do it. But Afenyo was excellent. Let's take Afenyo's other video on Chairman Wontumi. And I like the way Afenyo used the occasion to bring attention back to what we all believe is the politically motivated incarceration of Chairman Wontumi. Let's hear Afenyo again on Chairman Wontumi.
What we are experiencing in this country is persecution, persecution, persecution. For the first time, we are seeing political imprisonment. Wontumi is a political prisoner. Mr. Speaker, Camilla Al-Hassan, a young mother of 3, is also a political prisoner, telling you how intolerant you are, and you are here telling us you are running an economy. You want this to be a one-sided parliament. When people criticize you, you threaten them. A lot of my MPs here have been threatened. You are threatening members of parliament with prosecution. Let me serve a warning to the Attorney General that the ravening clouds shall no longer be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. Be careful. 2028, you'll be in opposition. 2028. If you are not careful, Mr. Speaker, if you don't stop now, you go and meet Wontumi there, and Wontumi will be out, and you go in. So I'm advising you, let us all be measured.
They said if you are not careful, you go and meet Wontumi there, and Wontumi will be out and you will be in. What's the time now? It's 5 minutes at the top of the hour. Let's put some heat in and start the fireworks. Mahamadou Bawumia on his way to the Ashanti region to speak to the MPP Ashanti party and to assure them about doing the best to fight a big legal battle to get Wontumi out. On his way, he had to stop at Linda Door. Those of you who know the Accra Kumasi Road. He stopped at Linda Door, and what a delight. Young people who saw Bawumia stop at Linda Door came to him, and they were expressing interest in taking a selfie with him. And Bawumia was very happy to meet with them. He's going to have a conversation with young people all through. There's so much time. 2027, 2028, he's going to have a conversation with them, because this future, the future of this country belongs to young people, and nobody can govern Ghana if you don't understand the pulse of young people. I'm talking about people who are 19, 21, 28, 38, up to 45, and all of that. Dr. Bawumia really got the pulse. Why is my videos holding? Okay, the video will come back in a minute. I just want to show you what happened at Linda Door when Bawumia showed up. I think he showed up to buy granuts because he was on the trip and he was driving to Kumasi. So he showed up to buy granuts, and there you go. This is all the young people who were also on their way to Kumasi or elsewhere, stopped at Linda Door, saw the former vice president, said, oh wow, let's take a photo with him. And they seemed very excited, genuinely excited to meet with Dr. Bawumia. We were very happy that Dr. Bawumia stood out and spoke to them and had a word with them. That's working. That's working. That's very, very, very good. Congratulations to all of them. Now, in Kumasi, Dr. Bawumia sat with the MPP regional executive and all constituency chairman in Ashanti earlier today. He's had a very hectic day. I understand he's just arriving back in Accra. He's had a very, very hectic day. And all the regional executive, the constituency chairman and the regional executive, you know that there's elections in Ashanti very, very soon. So most of the contestants for the regional position, especially Koka, who is vying for chairman and who many people believe will win, was there as well. And Koka was there to help them to navigate this very difficult time of the Ashanti region MPP's image and the Ashanti region MPP's soul. Because if your original chairman is incarcerated in such circumstances, it behooves that you have a meeting with the presidential candidate. Dr. Bawumia assured them that no stone was being left unturned, no legal hurdle will not be crossed. Everything that has to be done to support the agenda will be delivered to support the agenda. Here's Dr. Bawumia meeting with, I see over there Sampine, don't I? Yes, I see Sampine over there. I think he's the one in the cap. And all of them were there. Congratulations to Dr. Bawumia. He's really taking this matter onto the ground. He's dealing with the party, working with the party people. And that's why he was elected early as the presidential candidate to carve a path for how this party is going into 2028. Hopefully, the Lord will add his blessings to the work that he's doing. Okay, now, last Tuesday, we did our own analysis on the Wontumi matter, isn't it? And we got some criticism and we got some people who were happy with it. But I now have another analysis written by one of our viewers. He's a lawyer. He wrote it on his pages and he wrote it in the legal platforms. And many lawyers have sent that to me and told me that this is one of the best expressions about what really happened in court. I'm going to go on the touch screen and read that out to you. I hope that you have the patience to listen. Please listen. But if you are young, you don't need patience. It's obligatory. You have to listen. If you're a law student, you have to listen. It's obligatory. It's very, very important. This was a great article written. After that, we have a video from the studios in Kumasi to show you, and then we'll be discussing the press statement issued by Dr. Bawumia, whether it's good or bad. Dr. Bawumia says that don't prosecute anybody in my name, that he was yelling abuse at me. Anyone can yell abuse at a leader. I'm not one of those leaders that when people yell abuse as I'm saying police, you go and catch them, and I'm talking about Electronic Communication Act violations. I'm not interested. These are the words of Mahamudu Bawumia. He's not interested in some of these things. Dr. Bawumia says he's focused on his work. And the people who insult him today, they'll praise him tomorrow. All he needs is time to deliver the work. Give time some time, he says. And that has brought some controversy. We will be looking at it. And then we'll go and discuss Justice Atugube's vituperations. He was very angry. And was that the best place to do it? He chose the platform of Justice D.F. Anand's memorial. That was interesting. That was telling, wasn't it? Okay, let's move on the touch screen now and read this article about Wontumi. After that, we'll take a break. When we come from the break, we are going straight to the High Court where Hanan is standing on the right. He's wearing a dark suit. Shemsai is also there. The judge is sitting, and it is a putu match. And how did it end? It ended against Shemsai again. What is happening? We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that in a bit. So let's now fly over to the touch screen. Welcome those of you who are just joining us. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live on your Metro TV channel. So here is the article, and it was very interesting. Sorry, which I think they want me to stand here, right? Yeah. Okay, yes. They want me to stand here. Sorry about that, viewers. Okay, so yes, so let's go through it. It's a bit legal, but as usual, do our best to put it together nicely and make it soft for everyone. Was there really a proper application of the principles on circumstantial evidence in this case? So he's asking the question, why is he talking about circumstantial evidence? Because you had to rely on that because the cogent evidence may not be there and you're allowed to rely on circumstantial evidence. But to what extent can you use circumstantial evidence in a criminal process where the standard of proof is so high? Pega J, that's a judge. Pega is a judge. So when they write a judge and they write his name J, it means he's a high court judge. And most judges that you may know as Supreme Court judges were High Court judges before. So Pega J is a name of a judge. Pega J, as he then was, in the Republic versus Crenshaw, still rings in my ears. Circumstantial evidence ought to be approached with considerable caution because circumstances can sometimes conspire to make an innocent person appear guilty. This is a quotation from Justice Pega in Republic versus Krensel. And Pega said to the court back then that circumstances can sometimes conspire to make an innocent person appear guilty. For an accused person to be convicted on circumstantial evidence, the strands of evidence, like links in a chain, must lead irresistibly to the conclusion of the accused's guilt. Irresistibly is also beyond reasonable doubt, isn't it? And Justice Pega is saying that when you are using circumstantial evidence, all of those links that you put together, they must irresistibly lead to the conclusion of the accused's guilt. So Okun says that Wontumi told me to go and mine galamsey at the place, to perform galamsey and send him some of the money. Wontumi says, I didn't ask you to perform galamsey. I told you to plant coconut trees. Those are circumstantial. Now, how do you take these two pieces of information? And he said, I want to introduce me to somebody who is selling tractor or something like that. He said all of that. How do you, and you have to also know that Okun was saying this with a stick following him. He was being whipped because he was being prosecuted as well. He was being whipped to say that if you say these things and you say it very well, you will go scot-free. So Okun had the motivation to say certain things that may not be true. It's not just about him, it's a circumstance of any human being. If you are put in a tight corner and tigers are chasing you, you always have a tendency to add a bit more so that you are working towards your freedom. So what he was doing there was working towards his freedom. In working towards his freedom, was he likely to say certain things that are untrue? 100%. Therefore, could the evidence that he presents, all of the circumstances that he talks about, should all of that lead to an irresistible, that's the word, should it lead to an irresistible conclusion of Wontumi's guilt? And the answer is here as we go on. He says, a material break in that chain must inure to the benefit of the accused person. A material break in that chain must inure to the... So when he starts the links, Wontumi called me, link 1. Wontumi said I should go to his land in Samanboy, link 2. Wontumi doesn't give me an assignment, link 3. But he says I should go there and do galamsey, link 4. Wontumi, continue the link. Wontumi says, no, I told you to go there and plant coconut trees. Did you plant coconut trees? Yes, everybody saw the coconut trees. Then you did galamsey? Yes, I did galamsey. Why did you do galamsey? Because Wontumi told me to do galamsey. Wontumi says, I didn't tell you to do galamsey. How could I have told you to do galamsey? He says, I used to go and give some of the money to Wontumi. Where is the evidence of that? Where is the evidence of the assignment? So the relationship between the guy, Ohun, and the mining at the place ought to have been governed by some assignment. There's absolutely no assignment, but the prosecution says that the word of mouth and asking him to go and do it is sufficient. No problem. We are just dealing with the law. So it says that a material break in that chain must inure to the benefit of the accused person. What I find more interesting is the apparent shift in the burden of proof. And many lawyers looked at the Wontumi case and said that because the burden of proof is always on the prosecution, they have to prove something. But many lawyers say that it appears that if you read the judgment, at some point the burden of proof shifted. Well, in legal processes, the burden of proof shifts. In fact, students are sometimes asked to identify in a particular case where the burden of proof is shifting and how it is shifting. So the burden of proof can always shift. One such instance is debated all the time by lawyers when you are prosecuting a civil case and then a criminal element comes up. Must you prove it beyond reasonable doubt and then come back to continue the case and prove the rest on the balance of probability? Lawyers are divided on that. So there are instances where the burden of proof can shift from the accused person, can shift from one end to the other. But in the case of a criminal matter, the burden should never, ever be on the accused person, because the principle is that he's innocent until he's proven guilty. He's completely innocent until the prosecution can prove him guilty. So the burden of proof ought never to shift in the criminal process. But here, as this lawyer is saying, and as many lawyers have been talking about over the last 48 hours, they seem to think that, was there a time when the burden of proof shifted to the accused person? If indeed it did, then that is quite bizarre, because no accused person has a burden of proof to establish anything. He only has to raise doubt in the case of the prosecution. What I find even more interesting, it says, is the apparent shift in the burden of proof. The prosecution's case was that Wontumi authorized the illegal mining. His case was that he authorized reclamation only. Yet, at one point, the judgment appears to place the burden on him to lead evidence to establish the reclamation arrangement, notwithstanding the absence of any independent documentary or third-party evidence establishing that he authorized the mining. That's very interesting. There was a complete absence of any independent documentary or third-party evidence that Wontumi is the one who established mining. So they didn't even do the preponderance of evidence. If, for instance, Ohum said that Wontumi told me to mine, Ohum's brother Kwesi Mensah, who works for Wontumi, said yes, it is true, Wontumi told him to mine. Another person from Minerals Commission said that yes, I know that Wontumi told him to mine. They didn't even do that to get the preponderance of evidence and hope that their case can. They didn't do that because this writer is saying that there was actually no third-party confirmation of that. In those circumstances, can you still establish that there has been a standard of proof beyond reasonable doubt that had been attained by the prosecution? I beg to differ. All right, let's continue. The circumstances relied upon do not strike me as necessarily satisfying that that's very demanding standard of proof beyond reasonable doubt. It says, the circumstances relied upon do not strike me as necessarily satisfying that very demanding standard of proof beyond reasonable doubt. Notwithstanding the familiar refrain that proof beyond reasonable doubt does not mean proof beyond a shadow of doubt. Consider the circumstances relied upon. Henry Okun was a small-scale miner. Reclamation cost money. Wontumi apparently did not pay him for it. Henry Okun mined and says he funded the reclamation from the mining process. Wontumi introduced him to an excavator supplier. Wontumi did not investigate his reclamation credentials. Wontumi did not supervise the site. And Wontumi sought RECSEC assistance in relation to Henry Okun's operations. Okay. So those facts may make the prosecution's case plausible, perhaps even highly probable, but they do not make the alternative explanation unreasonable. Let's move on. What about this alternative hypothesis? Wontumi authorized reclamation. Henry Okun, being a miner and having obtained access to the concession, took advantage of that access and illegally mined for his own benefit without Wontumi's authority. Now, this writer is asking that why is that not plausible? If the first case, which is that Henry Okun was a small-scale miner, reclamation cost money, Wontumi apparently did not pay him for it. Henry Okun mined and says he funded the reclamation from the mining proceeds. Wontumi introduced him to an excavator supplier. Wontumi did not investigate his reclamation credentials. Wontumi did not supervise the site. And Wontumi sought RECSEC assistance. RECSEC is the Regional Security Council. Assistance in relation to Henry Okun's operation. So these are the set of facts that this writer is saying that can make the prosecution's case highly probable. But he goes on to say that, but these circumstances do not make the alternative explanation unreasonable. This is the alternative explanation. Wontumi authorized reclamation. This is a hypothesis. Wontumi authorized reclamation. Henry Okun, being a miner and having obtained access to the concession, took advantage of that access and illegally mined for his own benefit without Wontumi's authority. How is that not also plausible? This is plausible. The first one is highly probable, but this also plausible. It's all working towards the so-called standard of proof beyond reasonable doubt. Let's move on. I do not think the judgment convincingly demonstrates why that hypothesis is incapable of being reasonably true. And if it remains reasonably possible, can the circumstantial chain be said to satisfy the very test the court itself articulated? The burden-shifting passage makes me even less comfortable. This is probably the most troubling part of the judgment for me. After discussing Wontumi's reclamation explanation, the court notes that Henry rejected that version and then states, quote, this is quoting from the judgment, having rejected the allegation, the burden rests on the first accused to lead evidence on the probabilities to show that PW2 had agreed to the alleged arrangement. PW2 is Henry Okun, prosecution witness 2. The court then concludes that no such evidence was led. But surely, that raises the fundamental question. Why should Wontumi have to establish his explanation on the probabilities? Was it not enough for his explanation to raise a reasonable doubt as to whether he authorized the mining, leaving the ultimate burden on the prosecution to displace that reasonable possibility beyond reasonable doubt? Good question. Count 4 troubles me even more. Let's see it. For purposeful facilitation, the court itself identifies an essential ingredient as, quote, presence of purpose, that the accused person abetted the contravention purposely for breaching the law. The accused person abetted the contravention purposely for breaching the law. Yet, much of what is subsequently relied upon to establish that purpose sounds to me at least closer to negligence or perhaps a failure to exercise proper oversight. This lawyer is sort of writing the judgment based on what he has heard. Okay, it's based on what he has heard. He's putting something together. Very, very serious law, and I just hope that young people can follow. So let me take that paragraph again. Yet much of what is subsequently relied upon to establish that purpose sounds to me at least closer to negligence or perhaps a failure to exercise proper oversight on Wuntumi's part. He did not verify Henry Okun's competence. No, he didn't. He failed to supervise. Yes, he failed to supervise. He never visited the site. No, he didn't. Illegal mining was prevalent, and he knew or ought to have known. But ought to have known is materially different from purposely facilitated. That's very interesting. So the prosecution is saying that Chairman Wuntumi, they didn't visit the site. Yes, he didn't. Chairman Wuntumi didn't check whether Henry Okun knows how to do reclamation. He didn't. Chairman Wuntumi didn't participate in anything. And so, if you say that there was galamsey going on, and Wuntumi ought to have known, or that he knew, and therefore you are punishing him for it, this lawyer is saying that ought to have known is not the same as purposely facilitating the galamsey. If Wuntumi knew that they were doing galamsey at Samanboy, and just perhaps Henry Okun may be doing some of the galamsey, he ought to have known. That is very different in a criminal trial from he facilitated. Because you have to charge somebody with the mens rea, which is the mental element, the intention to commit the offense, and then the actus reus, which is actually committing the offense. So he knowing, or we saying that he ought to have known that Okun was doing galamsey, it's not the same. It doesn't ground mens rea. Mens rea is not there. There's no mens rea in that. And mens rea is essential for conviction. You have to demonstrate that Wuntumi had the mental elements to do this. You really have to demonstrate that. 100%. And then once you establish mens rea, we can go to the ground and find out whether the actus reus occurred. It's just by going to look at the ground and see whether galamsey has been mined over there. But that you say Wuntumi ought to have known, it's not enough to say that he has committed an offense when the standard of proof is beyond reasonable doubt. So the writer is saying that ought to have known is not the same as purposely facilitated. This is very high standard law, and this is a Ghanaian lawyer trained in Ghana who is saying this, and we wonder how sometimes maybe the other people don't see it. If Parliament has criminalized purposeful facilitation, I struggle with establishing that mental element beyond reasonable doubt substantially by reference to what the accused ought to have done or ought to have known, rather than what the prosecution proved he actually knew and intended. This is what I've been saying in the last 5 minutes. This is what he's reduced into this paragraph. That's really the point. The accused, the prosecution is not able to establish that Wuntumi actually intended that Ohun should go and commit galamsey. All they say, and what the judgment says, is that Wuntumi ought to have known. For those of you who are studying law, who are lawyers, you've done criminal law, mens rea and actus reus, the mental element, is it established by we thinking that somebody ought to have known? Is that how the mental element is established? No. The mental element is established by showing that he had thought about it, he had conceived it, he had believed in it, and he executed it. That's the mental element. Mens rea is not established by ought to have known. Ought to have known can even be found in the area of mere gossip. Ought to have known. It can be put in gossip. If it's a civil matter that is on the balance of probabilities, yes, ought to have known is important. But on a criminal issue, ought to have known cannot stand the test of the standard of proof. The last paragraph here, he says, so I come back to the fundamental criminal law question. Was the accused required to prove, even on the probabilities, that his explanation was true? Or was it sufficient for that explanation merely to raise a reasonable doubt, which the prosecution then had to displace beyond reasonable doubt? That's an interesting question. What was Wuntumi's role in the matter as an accused person, or every accused person for that matter? Was he supposed to prove something? No. He was supposed to raise issues on the matter. He was supposed to raise fundamental issues against the prosecution. When those issues were raised, it was the prosecution's, the ball is in the prosecution's court, and it behoves the prosecution to then displace those things Wontumi had said beyond reasonable doubt. The prosecution's work was made very simple for them in circumstances that we are all trying to understand. Let's move on. I am reading the judgment. If I'm reading the judgment correctly, this seems to me to raise rather significant questions about the application of circumstantial evidence, the burden of proof, and the mens rea required for purposeful facilitation in criminal proceedings. And I think that's the end of the article. This is such a brilliant article. I've seen many articles written by lawyers about this Wontumi matter, but students of law, perhaps you should pick it up. It will be on our Facebook page and use it. It is very important. And those of you who want to continue practicing law in places like England, you want to be called to the English bar. If you want to be called to the English bar, these things are very important. How to understand the criminal process this way. You know, in places where you have to practice the law and do it well, you will need this kind of knowledge. It's very important. So this is, I'm just sharing with you viewers, because when we put our stuff out, and can you quickly get me the stuff that we put out on the trial? The one that we put out today on social media, so that we can show it now for people to see. Again, those who are not on social media, when you get it, just let me know. Just pick it up. It's a short video. It's about 6 minutes long. So, you know, what we put out, I got a few calls. People were criticizing us that we didn't go too deep into the law and we should have. And I was telling them that for purpose of television and for the time that you have, we really have to break the law down. And there were others who were very excited that they like watching our program because we always break the law down and make it very simple for everyone. But I still needed to deal with this article, which is very legalese, but it really points to it hits the backbone of the matter. It's so germane to the conversations that we are having, so I really needed to read it. The writer, I don't want to mention his name, congratulations, said this is a very well written article, and he has really settled the matter. That the matter was about beyond reasonable doubt. The standard of proof first, and how do you use circumstantial evidence to establish a criminal matter where you have to prove it beyond reasonable doubt? Because the fundamental thing about circumstantial evidence is that it is circumstantial. We are gleaning, that's the word they use, Gleaning. We are gleaning the outcome from circumstances. We do not actually know it, but based on the circumstances, we are able to infer, if you like. Let's use inference. That's what political science use. Lawyers will say glean from it, but political science, sociology, we say inference. So we are inferring from the circumstances of the matter that this is the most likely outcome, or this is the most likely conclusion. That's what he's saying. That's what circumstantial evidence is about. And he's asking that, can you use circumstantial evidence to come to such a firm conclusion as to incarcerate one for 20 years on a matter like this? What about the fact that you say that Henry Okun was doing galamsey and Wontumi was sitting in Kumasi and he was sitting in TV and showing gold to Paul Adumoche? He ought to have known that the time he was showing gold to Paul Adumoche, that Okun was mining galamsey in Samanboy. If he ought to have known, is it the same as he facilitated it? That's really what the writer is saying. Did he really facilitate it? That's the point. And that's the point of this article, and I'm very happy about it. Yes, you have the video ready? Okay, so they have the video ready. We're going to show you that 6 minutes video. After that, we will go to the text messages, and we come to Justice Atuguba. And don't go anywhere. Wait for it. Stremsai versus Hanan and Godfrey Dame in courts today was fantastic. It was like the Attorney General predicted. Rumble in the jungle. It was really good. Who lost? Stremsai lost. He fell completely flat. But that's not even the point. Why he fell flat is what worries me and should worry all of you. By the time I tell you what happened, you see that we are in for a big matter with the regime of the Attorney General's department that we have today. All right, let's get is the video ready? I guess the video is ready. Okay, let's see this video with the background in the background. Let's see this video from last Tuesday, which we have edited. This is our summary of really what happened and why we think this is a travesty of justice. side, the prosecutor. This is Henry Okun, who is Wuntumi's person. He works with Wuntumi, and he became the star witness for the prosecution. Without Justice Henry Okun, the prosecution apparently did not find sufficient evidence. So they spoke to Henry Okun, as some lawyers have been criticizing the Dominic Aini regime, that most of the things they do is that when they find 5 people, they tell one person that, don't worry, we'll leave you. Can you say it? And then they tell them to say certain things as people speculate. And sometimes, if you put people in that kind of situation, the unfairness and the injustice arising out of that is that the person is being told that say A so that you will be free. The person knows that the prosecution wants to achieve a certain end. So he might not just say A, but he might add B, he might add C, he might add D. Now, in the specific case of this matter, this man Henry Okun says that the Akonta mining lease that Wuntumi obtained legitimately way before Akufo-Addo became president, the Akonta mining lease that was obtained for the Saman Boy place, you know, there was a time that I used to chat to Wuntumi, I call him Saman Boy, because he told me that he's gotten something in Saman Boy, but he doesn't even go there, blah, 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 conversations we used to have. So I call him Saman. I just like the name of the place. The Saman Boy, is that the correct pronunciation? Please correct me, those from Western region. Saman Boy place, he says that Wuntumi gave him a license, as it were. You hold that there, I'll come to that. And Wuntumi gave him a license to go and do galamsey there. So Henry Okun admits to the court that he, Henry Okun, performed the galamsey. And he performed the galamsey, which is illegal mining. He performed the galamsey because Enchibo Siaku told him to go and perform the galamsey and gave him his license. The relationship between the license from one person to the other in legal terms is called an assignment. Now, the law requires, it's trite, and the law requires it, that an assignment ought to be documented. So the Attorney General should have been getting from Henry Okun a document that says Wuntumi has assigned this to you as a license. No such document existed. Do you give license by word of mouth? And that can be relied upon in a criminal prosecution? And Wuntumi denied it, that he has not given him license to go and mine. He told him that he can go to his mine as Saman Boy and plant coconut trees because they were trying to reclaim the land and trying to do afforestation. The document suggests from the court that the coconut trees were actually planted. But Okun says that in addition to the coconut trees, Wuntumi gave him a license to go and mine galamsey. Wuntumi says, I didn't tell you to go and mine galamsey. So Henry Okun, who doesn't have a document to show that Wuntumi assigned it to him, number one. In fact, that should have collapsed his case in any case, because the establishment of reasonable doubt has been completely overturned. If Henry Okun is not able to show a license document, you don't say that Fred Manso told me that he has leased his house to me in Abelempe, so I went to stay in his 4-bedroom house because he told me that he has leased it. There was no document of the lease. That should not stand in any criminal court. It shouldn't. So this guy, the other part of the matter is that this Henry Okun has actually admitted to performing galamsey. He performed galamsey, but he's free. Wuntumi is not being charged for performing galamsey. He is being charged for illegally giving his license out to another by an assignment which does not exist on paper. My goodness, this is very interesting. Wuntumi is being jailed for 20 years because it is said that he gave an assignment to Henry Okun for Henry Okun to go and perform galamsey. Henry Okun has admitted before the court that he performed galamsey. But tonight, Henry Okun, who performed galamsey and destroyed our water bodies and has admitted it, is free. And Wuntumi is in jail for 20 years because the court has believed Henry Okun, and Wuntumi says, I didn't give you anything. So Wuntumi's word has not been taken, and that is where people are concerned about the threshold of whether this was established beyond reasonable doubt. This is the matter. Fair, simple, and square. This is the matter. Henry Okun is free. He has destroyed our water bodies. He has given our children kidney problems. He has given our food poison. He has given poison to the people of Samaboy, but because he was able to say that it was Chairman Wontumi who gave me the verbal license, Henry Okun is free. He is actually the criminal, but he is protected because he spoke against Chairman Wontumi, who is the owner of the license. This is the matter. This is all. This is the matter. And we are dealing with a situation that's a proof beyond reasonable doubt. Proof beyond reasonable doubt. Is that how to prove? Henry Okun has done galamsey. That's why we didn't want to put his photograph, because we're going to explain this, but I know some people are getting angry that the Henry Okun guy, where is he? Henry Okun is gone. Perhaps he's left the country. But he told the court that he, Henry Okun, not just him, he and his assignees, they performed galamsey as Saman Boy. They have admitted to the crime. The offense that is killing children, the offense that is destroying our food, the offense that is destroying our environment, that we all talk about it. Minerals Commission has not said anything about it. Minerals Commission should be very angry. Kenneth Ashigbe should be angry with Henry Okun. But they are all happy that Wontumi is gone to jail for 20 years. Minerals Commission, Ghana Bar Association, Justice and Magistrates Organization. They have seen in Ghana where somebody has admitted to galamsey and he's walking free. And the person that he alleges told him to go and do galamsey is in jail for 20 years. It's time for text messages, after which we will be dealing with another video on the galamsey before we switch to Justice Atuguba. But let me begin with this text message. Charles Techibuedu sends me a text message and says that whichever lawyer reviewed the judge's ruling on the Wontumi Saman Boy case is a gem. Asking the question that has been lingering on my mind all this while as to whether Wontumi was expected to prove his innocence instead of the prosecution proving his guilt as expected in a criminal trial. That's really where the matter settles and ends. Let me go over to Fati now and see what other people are saying. Thank you for watching Good Evening Ghana. We are always delighted you're here. And we're even more delighted if you send us text messages. Fati, what are people saying?
Right. Thank you, Paul. So Samuel Boache here says, is the current economic hardship, increased electricity and water bills, and fuel prices in Ghana not a priority for the NDC-led Mahama government? Having been given the mandate to reset the country, are they instead arresting and witch-hunting previous government officials? Now that Chairman Wontumi has been arrested, has galamsey in this country ceased? Did President Mahama not admit that NDC party members were engaging in galamsey across the country? And has he been able to arrest any of these members across the country? Remember, power is transient and 2028 is fast proceeding, and the NPP cannot intimidate forever. Regards to Dr. Bawumia, the next president. I have another message here from Yao February. He says, 8 years of former Nana Akufo-Addo's government, nobody was arrested for a hate speech against Dr. Bawumia, but he was insulted and false information were peddled against him by the NDC. So, if under the President Mahama's second term, the government is arresting and jailing associates of the NPP for hate speech and publication of false news for Kamila Al-Hassan to spend 1 year in prison, this is not the time to arrest the NDC organizer for hate speech against Dr. Bawumia to settle political scores for the criticism against the government intimidation and witch hunt for the NPP. Kwabena Dente says, can the MPs who took double salaries be prosecuted in the future? Gastiman says it appears some of the NDC behaves as though justice only matters when they are in power. The celebration surrounding Wontumi's imprisonment says a lot, but power is temporary and politics is critical. What goes around comes around. One thing I admire about Dr. Bawumia is his calmness and composure. In moments like this, leadership is tested by restraint, not by triumph. Those who believe political power belongs to them forever may soon discover that the people always have the final say. And lastly, from General E.L. Komani says, Paul, the mid-year budget review has raised many questions than confidence. In my view, it reflects poor planning, unfulfilled expectations, and the lack of clear economic directions. Ghanaians deserve policies that deliver results, not excuses. What do you have for us? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Fatih. This is coming from Achim Bwedi. He says, "Good evening, Apostle Paul and the team. I'm watching you live from Basildon, UK. Paul, the NPP needs a united front to wrest power in 2028. I do not subscribe to insults, but the arrests are becoming increasingly concerning and pose a threat to Ghana's democracy. The party hierarchy should engage former President Paul in a genuine reconciliation process." Good evening to Nana K, the NPP National Organizer hopeful, the young, energetic and incoming National NPP Organizer. Pedri Kurama says the minority leader is very smart. Nana also says after all the blabbing about the appreciation of the cedi, just 9 weeks after the World Bank left, the NDC has gone to borrow $1 billion for Chop Chop. This QNet government and Nuku feel it is very obvious that the Council of State has no authority to ensure that the Agenda 111 hospitals are completed instead of pursuing these baseless 24-hour economy markets. The minority must ensure that every tax cedi is accounted for. This is coming from Moses Achampon. He says this is what we expect him to be doing, not only for the NPP but also for the country at large. That's exactly what Bagman did when he was the minority leader. He holds a pivotal position in our democracy today, and the sooner he begins to do more, the better it will be for the NPP in the next elections. Coming from Pedri Kurama, he says, in most criminal justice systems, the burden of proof lies with the prosecution, not the accused. The prosecution must prove the accused's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The accused is presumed innocent unless and until the burden is met. And he goes on to say that if the prosecution fails to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, the accused should be acquitted. And finally, from Sylvester Asukuga, he says, "God bless you, Apostle Paul, for the wonderful work you are doing for Mother Ghana." Thank you so much. And over to you, Paul.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm going to show you a video, viewers, and then after that, I'll come back and take that Asedu Nketia video again because some of my viewers are texting me, and I really love this thing viewers do. They are texting me to tell me that the person in the Asedu Nketia video is not Commodore Steve Obimpe. It is Nneɛma Ashite, who used to be regional minister and later a minister for labor as well, that he was in the blue. You know, when I looked at the video, I was asking myself that who is it? Is it Commodore Steve Obimpe? And I said that he looks good for that. We'll come back to that in a minute. Now let's go to this more poignant video where someone has very harsh words for everyone who believes is connected to the Wontumi matter. There's a video from Kesben FM, I believe, again, from Ashanti region. Have a look.
God will punish you guys. God will deal with you. God will punish you. Me say NDC ni bia penyi bia ene oyonko ye de na tum 20 years. What said I'm telling you, NDC ni bia we are involved in Galamsey. You die before your time. God will punish you guys. God will deal with you. God will punish you. Me say NDC ni bia penyi bia ene oyonko ye de na tum 20 years. What said I'm telling you, NDC ni bia we are involved in Galamsey. You die before your time.
Yes. Is that a harsh message? I think so, but why is he so passionate? I understand it's Ahimfie FM in Kumasi, it's not Kesben, forgive me, it's Ahimfie FM, one of the places that I like listening to as well. Wow. Let's get back to that Asedu Nketia video and let me do the correct attribution to Nneɛma Ashite. So viewers, if you just joined and you missed it, at the beginning of the show, I wanted us to share some gossip about the fight going on in politics in NDC. You know that the story is that as far as we know it, President Mahama cannot run for another term. We know that there's an application before the Supreme Court today. Those of you who read the graphic, there was an interesting article by Yabwedu Ayeboafo, who is a former news editor at the Daily Graphic and a former chairman of the National Media Commission. And Yabwedu Ayeboafo is a seasoned journalist, a lawyer. And Yabwedu is also a roommate to President John Dramani Mahama in our famous Commonwealth Hall up the hill at the University of Ghana. And if you look at today's graphic, if you don't have it, you can check it on your phone. I'm sure graphic is online. There's an article by Yabwedu Ayeboafo, very interesting, very well written. You can tell that is a great man of literature. He quotes Chinua Achebe. I thoroughly enjoyed it this afternoon when I was watching it. Some of the office people were beating my head because we had a lot of work to do, and I was engulfed in this article and I was reading it. Yabwedu Ayeboafo says in his article in the graphic today that he was roommates with President John Dramani Mahama. He quotes Article 66 of the Republican Constitution and says that any person who wants to run for president must have a form signed by him. Yabwedu then says that with the multiple denials that we have seen from the president about his interest in third term, we expect that he will not sign any document by himself to present to any political party that he wants a nomination form to run as president of Ghana. So that was a very interesting article. So with what we know so far, we know that there will be no third term for John Dramani Mahama according to the law, except unless the Supreme Court decides differently. So since that prospect is staring us in the face, we have seen contest upon contest at the National Democratic Congress. Julius Deborah, one of my favorite people whom I don't really know, but I just like him from a distance. Deborah has been showing some exercise skills and all kinds of skills. And mind you, on Saturday, Julius Deborah will be awarded a PhD in archaeology by the University of Ghana. So from Sunday or Saturday afternoon, he will be described as Dr. PhD Julius Deborah. Is that one step over Seydou Ketia? I don't know. I don't know how you see these things. But some people might think there's one step over Seydou Ketia. The presidency is not a PhD contest anyway, except that in 1979, forgive me my overflowing stories. In 1979, the PhD contest came up in the presidential election in Ghana. One of the reasons why Victor Owusu was not elected is that the propaganda from the left-wing party of Liman went out to say that Ghana has always been led by doctors. Never mind the fact that Kwame Nkrumah's PhD was honorary. We've said that before. That there was Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, then there was Dr. Buzia. This is Dr. Liman. Why is Ghana lowering the standard from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Buzia, and now you come to Mr. Victor Owusu, barrister at law and solicitor at the Supreme Court of Ghana, could not help Owusu's credentials. The propaganda worked very, very well, and many Ghanaians went out to elect Dr. Liman because they believed that they were keeping the standards. Since then, the attainment of a PhD has never been part of the presidential requirement, even on the altar of propaganda. However, you cannot dismiss it. 2028 is coming and it may be a big part again. So on Saturday, Julius Deborah will be made a doctor at the University of Ghana. Johnson Asiedu Nketia is like you and I. He's Mr. Asiedu Nketia. Will that mean anything? I don't know. The other person in the race is Dr. Kaysel Ato-Forson. So will it be a contest of Dr. Kaysel Ato-Forson versus Dr. Julius Deborah that Mr. Asiedu Nketia will be eliminated to the background? We wait to see. God give us life and let's all give time some time. But as a result of this fracas, what has happened is that Asiedu Nketia's body language has been very negative towards Dr. Kaysel Ato-Forson and also Julius Deborah, and he exemplified it at no less an occasion than the solemnization in honor of Professor J.E.A. Mills, a lecture delivered by an MPP, Professor Frimpong Boateng, at the IFSA. Here's a video that we showed at the beginning of this program about how that happened. Listen, watch the video. I'm going to be running football commentary behind the video. So here's Asiedu Nketia. He's walking in majestically, as he often does, in his socialist suit like a Chinese communist. This person that he tries to get his attention, but the person is afraid. He doesn't want the people to forcing people to see that he's hobnobbing with Asiedu Nketia. It might cost him something. So this is the person I'm talking about, the guy in blue. Asiedu draws his attention. He shakes hands with him, and then he proceeds to give Asiedu a warm embrace. That's Niama Ashite. Niama Ashite is the nemesis of Dr. Ajiman Rawlings Zaneto. It was Ashite who Zaneto came to remove in Korle Klotey as the MP. Niama Ashite was a minister for Labour, and he was Greater Accra Regional Minister. So we made the point that Asiedu is avoiding Julius Deborah here. So he goes round, he doesn't quite talk to him. Julius Deborah is there in your picture in the blue political suit, seated. And the party chairman doesn't go to him. He very well could. Look at Asiedu Nketia. He doesn't even turn his head to the right. Because if he turns his head to the right, he will be encountering Julius Deborah. So he says hello to Hannah Tete, and then he moves on. So viewers, point of correction. The man in the blue is not Commodore Steve Obimpe. It is Niama Ashite. Okay, let's get back to the studio and sort out our matters. Justice Atuguba, the former Supreme Court Justice, has been speaking, and many people have been quite disappointed with the way he spoke and the things he said. Justice Atuguba was invited, and I believe rightly so. When I saw the invitation, I was quite excited. He's been invited, and rightly so, to deliver the Professor J.E.A. Mills Memorial Lecture. Somehow I didn't see Koko Anyidoho there, but I understand if Asiedu Nketia is in a room, Anyidoho will not like to be there. Otherwise, they would lock horns and there could be fireworks. So Anyidoho didn't attend because you cannot mention Professor Mills without Koko Anyidoho. That's impossible. For any journalist like me who worked in Ghana between 2005 and 2010, Koko Anyidoho was the closest person to Professor Mills. If Professor Mills went somewhere and he went with one person, it was Koko Anyidoho. I've seen that so many times, and everyone knows that. But somehow, fracas came during the Akufo-Addo era. Who has cleaned Asumdue Park? Who hasn't cleaned Asumdue Park? Anyidoho was frustrated that the NDC during the Mahama era left Asumdue Park to rot. He had to write a personal letter to Nana Akufo-Addo, invoke old friendship between Akufo-Addo and Mills in his letter, because Akufo-Addo and Mills were great friends from the University of Ghana. They played in the University of Ghana football team together, and they were playmates, and they passed the ball to each other like Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane. So Koko Anyidoho invoked those relationships. You know how Akufo-Addo is. He's a man with a very soft heart for people that he has known for a long time. And so Akufo-Addo said, why not? Let's go and clean up Asumdue Park. So they did. And then the NDC then went to Asumdue Park with Koko Anyidoho, with Asiedu Nketia, to go and jubilate over there. Koko Anyidoho was very, very much irked by that. He was completely annoyed. And so today, when they are celebrating Professor Mills, they don't even call Koko Anyidoho, which is okay. I also didn't see Cadman Mills, who is Professor Mills' brother, over there, but he doesn't live in Ghana, so perhaps the schedule was tight for him and he couldn't make his way to Accra. But at this, that's Professor Mills. I finished with Professor Mills. Let me come back to Justice D.F. Annan. Justice D.F. Annan is another person about whom a lot has been said. He, as far as I know, is one of the greatest speakers, and I rate Justice Annan very, very high because of the decisions and the ruling he made in the processes that led to the Supreme Court case of J.H. Mensah and the Attorney General. And I don't want to go into that. You know the details of that. I've said it many times here. And it's also captured in my book. In fact, the University of Ghana said they ran out, so I'm sending them some. Tuesday, I'll be reading some parts of the book so that it might interest you to go and get another one. It's only 200 cedis for students, okay? So, yes, Justice D.F. Annan, I treat Justice D.F. Annan in the book in a great detail. So I know Justice Annan and the work that he did. So the NDC have rightly instituted a Justice D.F. Annan memorial. And then they invited Justice Atuguba to come and speak there. Justice Atuguba, for those of you who are too young and don't know him, he's a very seasoned Supreme Court judge. In the history of the Fourth Republic, Atuguba may have been the youngest Supreme Court judge ever appointed. When Atuguba was appointed Supreme Court judge, he was about 44 years old. Supreme Court judges run until 70. Atuguba was appointed in his 40s. So you can imagine, later on, other people were appointed in their 40s, like Sophia Kofu, and I believe Gabriel Poaman went there in his early 50s, something like that. So they go there, they have 20 years on the apex court. And that tells for experience. So by the time election petition 1, which is 2013, came, Justice Atuguba was about the most after the Lord Chief Justice, which was Justice Georgina Wood. Atuguba presided over this matter, and every Ghanaian remember him and his sternness and his strictness and all that. But many, many more remember him for the last day of the ruling. On Judgment Day, it took almost 2 hours delay for Atuguba to come. When he has finished reading the judgment, it was said that he had read the judgment wrongly. His calculations had been wrong. In fact, Samuel Okujeto and the senior members of the Ghana Bar Association organized an event at the British Council Hall where they tore Atuguba's ruling into shreds. In their analysis, Atuguba has misread the ruling of the court, and it should have been 5-4 against the defendants rather than 5-4 in favor of the defendants. So that's Atuguba, if you want to remember him. But he came to deliver this lecture, and my goodness, he said a lot of things, but we are picking up 2 themes from what he said. It's not just what he said, but it's also how he presented it. And we have an article from an ordinary person on social media who wrote some thesis on why he felt that Atuguba's presentation left much to be desired. Here is the first theme. Atuguba comes into the lecture of DFN and he says that the parliament, as constituted today, is not doing anything for Ghana. They are doing stuff for themselves. Have a listen.
Majority, Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Minority. Is that the case now? Debatable. Thank you, at least. Well, that is not it. Truth is one and indivisible, except you are talking politically. You know it. I see this parliament as standing for something else than the interests of Ghanaians. That's how I see it. Some of them are good, but others are immersed in loyalty to the party and to whoever for the time being is president, maneuvering to progress along the political ladder, irrespective of honesty, fairness, good service to the people of Ghana. That's what I have seen, and I've said it. I'm not saying these things out of spite. Not at all. But it's necessary. Because the ship of state has tilted very, very ominously. Happily, as I say, all is not lost. There are some people who are good politicians.
But the problem is the way the gesticulation. Why is the Lord Justice speaking like that? Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? He said that the majority of the MPs sitting there, the 188 NDC MPs, they are not working for any Ghana beer. They are working for their party. They are not working for Ghana. And he's asking the leadership of parliament, minority and majority leader, is that the case? And Alex Markin says that's debatable. And he says, okay, it's debatable, it's good. But they are not working for any Ghana. They are working for... How did he know that? He didn't provide any evidence. He didn't say anything. The justice of the Supreme Court, he's addressing an occasion like the Justice D.F. Annan, very solemn occasion, and the justice of the Supreme Court makes statements without providing any evidence. He accuses the whole parliament that they are working for themselves. He provides not a shred of evidence. He must be very angry, and he must know what he's talking about. There's an Akan proverb that when an Odenchem comes from underneath the water to tell you that there's something happening, you have to believe it. He is an Odenchem in the belly of the umbrella. So if he is telling us that the parliament is doing nothing and they are there for themselves and it's about themselves, then well, we might have to believe him, just as Atuguba. But he went on to say something that was even more serious for civil society's considerations. And I'm quite disappointed that I've not seen many civil society comment on it. Franklin Cudjoe has said nothing about it. I don't know whether Franklin was there or he wasn't, but this is something civil society should be worried about. That a former Supreme Court judge is worried about his political inclusion in a political party. That's really the gravamen of the matter. Justice Atuguba is worried about political inclusion of himself in the NDC enjoyment of power. He wants to be part of it. because he says that he was part of it in the preparation stage. So he was part of those who were in the kitchen cooking the meal. The meal is ready, goes on the dining table, and he actually accompanies people to parliament to do their vetting. Now he's calling them and they are not picking. Listen to Justice Atuguba.
The politicians are free with everybody. Drinking palm wine, pounding fufu, washing clothes. More than people of the people. As soon as the results come, their calls will not be picked, either by the ministers or MPs. What kind of life is this? Just a day before, we're all one. Today, victory has come. You have coming. Is that how it's coming? The politicians are free with everybody. Drinking palm wine, pounding fufu, washing clothes. More than people of the people. As soon as the results come, their calls will not be picked, either by the ministers or MPs. What kind of life is this? Just a day before, we're all one. Today, victory has come. You have coming.
Who was all one with Justice Atuguba before the victory came? Who is that politician who is not picking it? Please, Mr. Politician, pick your calls. So pick your calls and don't let the man get palpitations. He's an elderly man. He's over 70 years old. He retired in the Supreme Court 2018 or so at 70. So he's pushing 80. Please, we love him. We want him to stay alive to give us more experience. Who's that doing that thing? But you know who's doing it? I know who's doing it. Do you know how I know? During the appointment committee hearings of Justice Fremsai, Justice Atuguba followed him. Please, do you have a video of it? Let's see whether we can crack it up. Do you have a video over there? Aha! So this is Justice Fremsai arriving for his appointment committee hearings. And where's Atuguba? Okay, it's good. The video goes on. You'll see it. Aha! So it's going into the audience now. Whoa! Thank you very much. Great. That is Lord Justice Atuguba sitting there as Justice Fremsai enters the appointments committee's room for the hearing of the nominee by the president for the position of Deputy Attorney General appointed under Article 79 of the 1992 Constitution. That's Atuguba. So if Atuguba tells us today, 1.5 years later, that some politicians that he was free with pounding fufu, drinking palm wine, and that they don't pick his calls, who is he talking about? He is talking about Justice Fremsai, because it was Fremsai who dragged Atuguba to the vetting. And Atuguba went to the vetting not as a stranger. He had been in the kitchen with Fremsai, pounding fufu, drinking palm wine, and all kinds of things. And as soon as the results came, he was calling Fremsai. Fremsai didn't pick. As soon as the victory came, Fremsai won't pick his calls. And he said whether they are ministers or deputy ministers or they are MPs. We haven't seen anyone around Atuguba publicly as we have seen Fremsai. So Justice Fremsai, in addition to all your problems, but I think Atuguba should understand, Fremsai has a lot of problems. He's under severe pressure. He may not be able to pick every call. But please, Fremsai, don't worry. Go to Atuguba. We don't want him to be talking like that. And how do Atuguba? Okay, let's get to the touch screen. Somebody wrote an article, very quick one. Let me read it quickly, because our time is kind of running out, isn't it? Let me read that article very quickly, and then, my lord, we beg you, and don't worry, there's no problem. My lord, we beg you, don't worry. We have told Fremsai that he should pick your call. He does that. It's very bad. He's a young man. But my lord, also used to have a bit of restraint, okay? Fremsai is very busy, and he's very hot, and he's struggling with the thing. So, my lord, maybe you should help him. I don't know whether you were a prosecutor before or as a Supreme Court judge, we dealt a lot of criminal cases. Please help him to prepare his charge sheet. This evening, we are going to talk about him and deal with him on the charge sheet. Today, he fell flat in the courts to Hanan's lawyers. So, Fremsai is hot. He is dealing with Kwabena Dubois, and he is struggling. Atacha is hitting him all over the place. He's not getting it correct. He comes to court with police, plenty soldiers. Now he has reduced the number of soldiers with policemen. He stands in the left, then he will take a picture of himself out of frustration, I'm sure, my lord. So please have mercy on Fremsai. He will reply your call. Once we have said it on Good Evening Ghana, all his friends watch Good Evening Ghana. We don't know whether he watches, but all his friends watch Good Evening Ghana. They will tell him that the Atuguba that thing has been attributed to him, and rightly so that he will call you, my Lord. But my Lord, when you are talking, please calm down. We love you. We want you to be around. It looks like you are very angry. Don't follow politicians. If you follow politicians, that's how they are. So I beg, especially NDC politicians, my Lord. NDC politicians, if you follow them, there are only one or two, as you yourself said, only one or two of them who are good. Should I mention some of the names to you? Asidu Nketia, for instance, is okay. You can deal with Asidu Nketia. He will never let you down. My Lord, who else? Doa Jao, the Council of State Chairman, he's very good. I'm sure you know him. You deal with Doa Jao, he will never let you down. You can deal with President John Dramani Mahama. When you were speaking, did you look at Professor Jenna Opoku-Agyeman's face? Hey, my Lord, her facial expression was something else. You should please reach out to her. You can deal with it. If there's nobody to deal with, my Lord, call me. You know, you and I, we used to meet at Kuala. When I met you at Kuala, we spoke. Call me, I'll come. We'll have a chat, and then I can even call President Akufo-Addo on the line so that he speaks to you. You know that he has very high regard for you. So, my Lord, calm down. Ghana loves you. Everybody is happy that you're around. Please don't follow Serem-Sai and these NDC people get palpitations. We really beg you, Jazza Tuguba, stay calm for us, okay? Thank you. I'm sure he got the message very clear. Please, let's put the article on and see. Elvis is the one who wrote this one. Have they done it in the blue? Yes. He said, I have fully watched former Supreme Court Judge Atuguba delivering a public lecture about the late Justice D.F. Annan. For the first time, I conclude that he is one of the worst public speakers I have ever come across. His presentation was not well organized. He was very uncomposed and was loitering everywhere with a very misarranged disposition. I am yet to understand the essence of opening his eyes wide like a father, cautioning his stubborn child. His disrespectful tone pitches violates good public speaking skills. A very boring presentation, if you ask me. Total waste of time. Such people must not be placed behind a public microphone. Disrespectful attitude towards participants. Hey, Elvis, you are harsh to the old man. Oh, the guy is an old man. Elvis, take your time, take your time. But I just wanted to share with you, viewers. Okay, so at this stage, we are ready for the fireworks. Justice Serem-Sai was in court today on the Hanan matter again. It's bad. It's brutal. We take a short break. When we come back, that's our last story. We kill it and we go for the weekend. This is Good Evening Ghana, and it's live.
The pulse of a nation, rising, unshaken. When the Black Stars take the world stage, we don't just play, we bring the storm. Fuel the dream. Support the Black Stars. Storm Energy Drink. Make your mark. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Looking for the ultimate oil city getaway? Welcome to the Groove Esipon Beach Resort for a luxury meet adventure. Host your meetings and events in our fully equipped conference facility. Relax our sparkling pool, unwind in cozy rooms, satisfy your cravings at our scenic restaurant, and enjoy fun-packed recreational activities and a walk through our charming mini zoo. Whether it's business, pleasure, or pure escape, the Groove is your perfect destination.
Can he tee up someone in red?
I be the real goat, Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
We are talking about BET. Except be the goat, huh? My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Proudly produced by Casapreco PLC. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years. Not recommended for pregnant women and lactating mothers. Don't drink and drive. This advert is FDA approved.
this is Justice Fremside, the prosecutor. This is Henry Okun, who is Wuntumi's person. He works with Wuntumi, and he became the star witness for the prosecution. Without Justice Henry Okun, the prosecution apparently did not find sufficient evidence. So they spoke to Henry Okun, as some lawyers have been criticizing the Dominic Aini regime, that most of the things they do is that when they find 5 people, they tell one person that, don't worry, we'll leave you. Can you say it? And then they tell them to say certain things as people speculate. And sometimes, if you put people in that kind of situation, the unfairness and the injustice arising out of that is that the person is being told that say A so that you will be free. The person knows that the prosecution wants to achieve a certain end. So he might not just say A, but he might add B, he might add C, he might add D. Now, in the specific case of this matter, this man Henry Okun says that the Akonta mining lease that Wuntumi obtained legitimately way before Akufo-Addo became president, the Akonta mining lease that was obtained for the Saman Boy place, you know, there was a time that I used to chat to Wuntumi, I call him Saman Boy, because he told me that he's gotten something in Saman Boy, but he doesn't even go there, blah, 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 conversations we used to have. So I call him Saman. I just like the name of the place. The Saman Boy, is that the correct pronunciation? Please correct me, those from Western region. Saman Boy place, he says that Wuntumi gave him a license, as it were. You hold that there, I'll come to that. And Wuntumi gave him a license to go and do Galamsey there. So Henry Okun admits to the court that he, Henry Okun, performed the Galamsey. And he performed the Galamsey, which is illegal mining. He performed the Galamsey because Enchibo Siaku told him to go and perform the Galamsey and gave him his license. The relationship between the license from one person to the other in legal terms is called an assignment. Now, the law requires, it's right, and the law requires it, that an assignment ought to be documented. So the Attorney General should have been getting from Henry Okun a document that says Wuntumi has assigned this to you as a license. No such document existed. Do you give license by word of mouth? And that can be relied upon in a criminal prosecution? And Wuntumi denied it, that he has not given him license to go and mine. He told him that he can go to his mine as Saman Boy and plant coconut trees because they were trying to reclaim the land and trying to do afforestation. The document suggests from the court that the coconut trees were actually planted. But Okun says that in addition to the coconut trees, Wuntumi gave him a license to go and mine Galamsey. Wuntumi says, I didn't tell you to go and mine Galamsey. So Henry Okun, who doesn't have a document to show that Wuntumi assigned it to him, number one, in fact, that should have collapsed his case in any case, because the establishment of reasonable doubt has been completely overturned. If Henry Okun is not able to show a license document, you don't say that Fred Manso told me that he has leased his house to me in Abelempe. So I went to stay in his 4-bedroom house because he told me that he has leased it. There was no document of the lease. That should not stand in any criminal court. It shouldn't. So this guy, the other part of the matter is that this Henry Okun has actually admitted to performing Galamsey. He performed Galamsey, but he's free. Wuntumi is not being charged for performing Galamsey. He is being charged for illegally giving his license out to another by an assignment which does not exist on paper. My goodness, this is very interesting. Wuntumi is being jailed for 20 years because it is said that he gave an assignment to Henry Okun for Henry Okun to go and perform Galamsey. Henry Okun has admitted before the court that he performed Galamsey. But tonight, Henry Okun, who performed Galamsey and destroyed our water bodies and has admitted it, is free. And Wuntumi is in jail for 20 years because the court has believed Henry Okun, and Wuntumi says, I didn't give you anything. So Wuntumi's word has not been taken, and that is where people are concerned about the threshold of whether this was established beyond reasonable doubt. This is the matter. Fair, simple, and square. This is the matter. Henry Okun is free. He has destroyed our water bodies. He has given our children kidney problems. He has given our food poison. He has given poison to the people of Samaboy, but because he was able to say that it was Chairman Wontumi who gave me the verbal license, Henry Okun is free. He is actually the criminal, but he is protected because he spoke against Chairman Wontumi, who is the owner of the license. This is the matter. This is all. This is the matter. And we are dealing with a situation that's a proof beyond reasonable doubt. Proof beyond reasonable doubt. Is that how to prove? Henry Okun has done galamsey. That's why we didn't want to put his photograph, because we're going to explain this, but I know some people are getting angry that the Henry Okun guy, where is he? Henry Okun is gone. Perhaps he's left the country. But he told the court that he, Henry Okun, not just him, he and his assignees, they performed galamsey as Saman Boy. They have admitted to the crime. The offense that is killing children, the offense that is destroying our food, the offense that is destroying our environment, that we all talk about it. Minerals Commission has not said anything about it. Minerals Commission should be very angry. Kenneth Ashigbe should be angry with Henry Okun. But they are all happy that Wontumi is gone to jail for 20 years. Minerals Commission, Ghana Bar Association, Justice and Magistrates Organization, they have seen in Ghana where somebody has admitted to galamsey and he's walking free. And the person that he alleges told him to go and do galamsey is in jail for 20 years. So sorry to keep you up to this time, viewers. I'm so sorry, with a big story coming up. Now, you know that Hanan Abdul Wahab is being prosecuted by the courts, by Justice Srems. I really feel sorry for the prosecution. This is Hanan over here. Thank you very much. Hanan and his wife are both being prosecuted by the High Court. Now, I'm going to try hard and do this in 5 minutes. Justice Srems is the lead prosecutor, and he's been having too many pitfalls in this matter. It appears that he's actually not very well prepared to do the work. It appears that he's more interested in carrying policemen in his car and taking photographs in lifts and those things than really doing the prosecution's work. Because what I'm going to show you over the next 5 minutes, you will cry for Ghana. Is that what the prosecutors that we are paying, is that how they are doing their work? So Srems started this prosecution with charging Hanan. In fact, they began with arresting him and punishing him with some onerous bail conditions, and party foot soldiers had to go there and all of that. Okay, so this is the Hanan trial, and this is what we have so far. October 28, 2025. Original 24 charges filed against Hanan and Pfizer at the Accra High Court. Justice Srems and his friends, they filed 24 charges. So this is a story. Ex-Buffer Stock boss wife faced 24 charges for alleged 78 million theft. That's what they said at the beginning. 78 million theft, okay? And then they ran through that charges. They didn't find a headway. They ran into a cul-de-sac. Srems carefully guided the whole process into a cul-de-sac. And then one day we were there on the 5th of May 2026. Court discharged them after Attorney General withdrew the charges, citing new evidence. The learned Attorney General, Justice Srems, in such a disgraceful manner, came on 5th May to withdraw the charges and told the whole Ghana that he has new evidence, and so he's going to, after all the shenanigans that went on, they couldn't prosecute. Srems, he actually ran into a cul-de-sac. Instead of admitting that he has run into a cul-de-sac and asked other lawyers to help him, he brazenly came bragging that he has found new evidence and is going to charge Hanan. We waited for day 1. Waited for day 2. Hanan was not charged. Then we saw this. Deputy Attorney General Srems has withdrawn charges against Hanan and his wife Pfizer, leading to their discharge. So they were completely discharged. I'm still on that story. They were discharged completely. That's the junction that we have. Let's move on. Hanan and Pfizer rearranged. Bail granted. 60 million for Hanan and 3.5 million for Pfizer. So this time, Srems, after bragging that he had received new evidence and was going to have some serious charges, he came back with a reduced set of charges. He really couldn't proceed with the case. That's how we know that he ran into a cul-de-sac. He just didn't know what to do. And you know what we are hearing, because we're interested, is that the seasoned prosecutors at the Attorney General's department, Semsai doesn't talk to them. He says they are NPP. And these are prosecutors who work for Dominic Ahine when he was Deputy Attorney General to Marietta. These are people who work for Marietta. These are people who work for Betty Moldidrisu. These are people who work for Joe Gatti. These are people who have worked for NDC Attorney Generals and MPP Attorney Generals. Suddenly, we understand that Semsai says they are NPP, so he can't work with them. So that's really what is happening, viewers. This is how these politicians treat Ghana. You pay them to go and see the Attorney General to work. You have been paying people who have been experts in prosecution for the last 20 years. They are there, and then the political boss decides that they are NPP, so I won't use them. And then he's doing a horrible substandard prosecutions. And then he comes into a lift and take a picture and he's pretending that he's a musician. 20 new charges filed against ex-NAFCO boss. So the first one was 24 charges. After he bragged and went and came back, he now has 20 new charges. Let's move on and see what happened after that. Okay, so 15th May, prosecution filed 20 count sheet. 11 June, defense requests 69 documents from prosecution. June 19th, case management conference completed. However, court strikes out unsigned witness statements and orders release of seized electronic devices. That was very important. Semsai, I think he was asleep, or he didn't sleep early that night. So when he came to the case management, he had not signed the witness statements that he presented were not signed. I think he thought he was going to get away with it. And then he was caught by Godfrey Dami and said, "Hey, my lord, the guy hasn't signed the witness statements." And then the judge was outraged. How do you, Attorney General, bring witness statements to court and you haven't signed them? And then he was embarrassed. Then when we spoke about it, he hired some obscure social media people to come and say that we were not in the court and blah, blah, blah. So we had to actually obtain the raw court. We brought it here. Those of you viewers who remember, we brought the thing here. And we read what the judge said in the judge's own words, berating the Attorney General that you cannot bring documents to the case management that have not been signed. I mean, is that not even very basic? A whole Attorney General, you take a document, witness statement, that Paul Adomotri has said this statement, and Paul Adomotri didn't sign it, and then you send it to a case management to go and show to a judge. I mean, it doesn't get below that. That's very crass legal practice, isn't it? Anyway, let's move on. 19 June 20, case management, blah, blah, blah. 16th July, I meant 19th June, yes. Now we're on 16th July. Court strikes out Attorney General's bid to revoke Hanan's travel order. That was also a whole unnecessary drama, a complete unnecessary drama. Hanan wants to travel, and then the court says Hanan can travel. And the Attorney General brings an application that Hanan cannot travel. The application is argued, and the application fails. That's really what happened. Semsai argues that Hanan cannot travel. Hanan's lawyers argue that Hanan can travel. The application of Semsai fails. His counter arguments fail. The judge grants Hanan the opportunity to travel. Hanan is traveling. Then they go and use power. They call police people. Do you know what the police people are saying about you, Justice Semsai? Do you know what the police people that you order them to go and arrest people? Do you know the things they are saying about you? You should be very careful as a young man. You should go and listen to what the police people that you told them to go to airport to go and arrest Hanan, the things they are saying about you. You should go and listen to the immigration service at the airport who investigated Hanan's documents, and every stop order is given to the immigration. Every stop order is given to the immigration. The immigration had no stop order because stop order must go through the proper channels. You cannot use Kokonsan to do a stop order at the airport. It has to go through the proper channels. I think the Deputy Attorney General still needs some orientation about how to be a Deputy Attorney General and how to be a minister appointed under Article 79. He still doesn't understand it. I think he's ready to release a single or something, so his mind is on his music. I don't know what's happening to him, but he's making horrendous mistakes, and it looks as if he doesn't even have any boss. I'm surprised whether Dominic Ahine is checking him out or not. So on the matter of Hanan was traveling after a court had granted him the right to travel, and then Semsai sent soldiers to go and arrest him. That Semsai has found out that Hanan was going to remove money from an account that is blocked. Many people on social media criticize him, the Attorney General, what's wrong with him? An account that has been blocked, how was he trying to remove money? And he was traveling on a Saturday. It was alleged that he was removing the money on Thursday. So Friday, the Attorney General and Semsai knew what they are telling us, which we don't believe. They knew that Hanan was trying to remove money on Thursday. They didn't do anything about it on Friday. Then on Saturday evening, they sent soldiers to the airport that go and arrest him. And I'm telling Sremsai, go and listen to what those people are saying about you. Go and listen to what the head of immigration at the airport is saying. Go and listen to the conversations they're having about you and learn a lesson from it and be very, very careful. As Otumfuo said, Emre yendinkaso. Emre yendinkaso. Careful. Anyway, so that also was so embarrassing, but it happened. Then Hanan doesn't travel, and then they say that they are bringing an application to stop Hanan from traveling. Till today, they have not brought any application. Just a total hogwash. In fact, the judge has reinstated Hanan's ability and right to travel. He has reinstated it. But let's move on to what happened. Okay, so trial officially commenced at Accra High Court. Defense, led by Godfrey Dame, filed a motion to strike out the charges, arguing defects in the charge sheets. That's on. And then the court rejects bid to strike out the entire case, but orders the removal of counts 9 and 14. He orders the amendment of counts 9 and 14. So now let us get into the second part of the matter. This is the second part of the matter, Mikhail. You're doing the video, the second part of the matter. This is what happened in court. This is the most embarrassing thing. Sremsai goes to court with 20 counts. And this is the charge sheet. Stealing, defrauding, all of that. He goes to court with it yesterday and today. Then the defense counsel noticed that, but this guy, is he all right? He is charging the person for stealing in one context and also charging the person for defrauding by false pretense. Roll it on, let's see. Roll it on, let's see what you have here. Okay, so this is the issue. The elements of stealing are different from the elements of defraud. Okay, so stay here with me. Sremsai is charging the Hanan and his wife for stealing 100,000 cedis, assuming 100,000 or 58 million, something like that. He's stealing that. There is also charging them for defrauding by false pretenses to obtain that money. That is a fallacy, complete fallacy. Let me show you, viewers, why, and then you will be frightened that is that the Attorney General you have. So they say that you have stolen this paper. You have stolen this paper means that you have come into this studio. All of us are either not here or we are not watching, and you've taken the paper and you slipped it into your hand. That's stealing. Defrauding by false pretenses to obtain this paper is that you have come into the studio and maybe I'm not here, and you have told one of my producers, Caroline, and says that, Caroline, Paul Adumatri says I should come and collect the white paper that he left. You haven't spoken to me. I don't even know you. But you walk in and Caroline says, did Paul leave a white paper? I say, yeah, that is it. It's okay. Take it for me. And then you take the white paper and give it to this person. He walks away with it. And there was a check in it for 20,000 cedis. That is defrauding by false pretenses. So you cannot charge an individual for stealing this paper and also obtaining this paper by fraud. Viewers, I hope you get me. This is what Sremsai did in court, and that's why the judge said, take your charges away. Are you all right? This is what he did. So they go and sit down there. They are writing charges. They just look at the criminal offenses and pile it. Stealing, defrauding by false pretenses. That's what they are doing. That is what they are doing. That's what they are doing. It's so bizarre. So I hope you get me, viewers. You can't steal this paper, obtain it by stealing, and also obtain it by defrauding by false pretenses. This is what Sremsai, a deputy attorney general, a law lecturer, this is what he took to the courts. And then the defense lawyer started laughing at him. You should have been in court. They said, what's wrong with you? They were laughing at him. Why should defense lawyers be laughing at the attorney general? The attorney general is the leader of the bar. He's not a leader of the bar for nothing. He's a leader of the bar because he's the repository, the consummate repository of the legal, the law. He is the law. And this is what people are taking pictures in lifts and put it on social media. He took a phone, take a picture in lift. He won't go and read the criminal procedure so that he'll be able to do the work that Ghanaians are paying him for. The work that Ghanaians are paying him for, the work that Ghanaians pay him for, Ghanaians pay his soldiers, Ghanaians pay his policemen, Ghanaians pay his driver, the work that Ghanaians are paying Sremsai for, he will not do it. He will go and sit in a lift and take a picture and post on social media that I'm Sremsai, I look like EL, and I want to release the remix of cocoa for my God. That's what Seremsai is doing. That's really what he's doing. Look at this. So now let's come to it. The elements of stealing are different from the elements of defrauding by false pretenses, and hence one cannot be charged for both based on the same facts. One, stealing, is done without consent, whereas the other, defrauding by false pretenses, is done with consent. This is very straightforward. Seremsai doesn't know this. So he wasted the taxpayers' time in court on Wednesday and Thursday, and the judge says, go back and amend the thing and bring it back. Now that's where the story is. The story is being told that Godfrey Dame brought an application to strike out the charge sheet. And that application failed because the judge only said they should amend, they shouldn't strike it out. This is the Attorney General who brought a defective charge sheet. And this was the first time. He has brought a set of charges, redrawn it, brought it again, reduced it. He couldn't manage a case management because witness statements were not signed. He brought an application to prevent the accused person from traveling. That application failed. He used Takashi to go to the airport to prevent the accused person from traveling. Now he brings a charge sheet and he's charging the accused person for both stealing and defrauding by false pretenses on the same amount of money. Disgraceful. Utterly disgraceful. What is this? I mean, is President Mahama fine when he watches these things? I mean, the Fourth Republic has had a set of very distinguished attorney generals. You can begin with Obeda Samuel and Martin Amidu. You can move on to Gloria Kufu and Akufo-Addo. You can talk about Ambrose Derry and Akufo-Addo. You can talk about Joe Gatti and Ayikwe Otu. You can talk about Dominic Aini and Marietta Brew. You can talk about Betty Moldidrisu and Ebo Batin Odro. This republic has had very distinguished attorney generals and their deputies. Gloria Kufu and Godfrey Dame. Why is Seremsai lowering the standards with this? I was going to use some word, I'm so embarrassed to use it. Why is Seremsai lowering the standards? He's completely lowering the standards. Even an LLB first year in his criminal law exam or IA, he will not charge a person for stealing and defrauding by false pretenses at the same time. If you do that, Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu will lash you in the class. The colossus of criminal law, Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, she sits at the Supreme Court. If you do this, you charge one person on the same matter for stealing and defrauding by false pretenses, he will whip you. That's why this evening a lot of lawyers are telling me that the judges are beginning to be too lenient and it's making lawyers lazy. Because in the past, if you appear before the famous people, Justice Annie Jage and Co., Kwega and others, and you have a charge sheet where you are doing this, the kind of dressing they will give you and throw you out, you will never survive. But here is Seremsai. It's not just an ordinary lawyer, the Deputy Attorney General who does these things. What is going on? Why? Is he not able to do his work? That is what the taxpayer is paying him for. He should do his work. The taxpayer pays him to do that. He should do it. The taxpayer pays policeman. The taxpayer doesn't pay me to do my work. The taxpayer doesn't pay you to do your work if you are not working in the public service. The taxpayer doesn't pay for a policeman for me. The taxpayer doesn't buy my petrol. The taxpayer doesn't buy my cocoa and beans. But the taxpayer buys Seremsai's cocoa and beans. He will buy Seremsai's belt. He will buy Seremsai's shoes. He will buy Seremsai a car. Taxpayer has never bought me a car in my life before. But it doesn't matter if taxpayer buys you a car. You are entitled to it. But then, as they say in Legon Hall, to whom much is given, much is expected. To whom much is given, much is expected. Seremsai must sit up and stop the funny behavior. He is not a pop star. He is an attorney general, and get down to do his work. He is failing at his work. How are you charging somebody for stealing and defrauding by false pretenses together? Let's even go to the other charge which the judge didn't talk about, and I'll show you something. Can you put that stealing matter on there? Something that he completely doesn't get. Now, here, not a defrauding by false pretenses, the stealing one. They'll get it from me in a bit. There's the charge of stealing. The way Seremsai presents the charge of stealing. So it's here. Count 13 is defective because the prosecution uses the phrase steal. The word should be steal, S-T-E-A-L, instead of actually using the particulars of the offense to draft the charge sheet. To this, Justice Amadou Tanko in the past, in the case of Republic versus Ernest Thompson, which people know Ernest Thompson and the Senate matter, 17 March 2021, says that authorities just reviewed are all in agreement that in a criminal procedure, the only circumstance in which a charge can be deemed to be properly laid is where the particulars of the charge sufficiently inform the accused person of the specific facts and omissions that the accused person engaged in, which resulted in the event. The reason for which he is being prosecuted, let me explain it. When you are charging somebody, you don't charge him with stealing. Stealing is the conclusion that the court comes to. You are charging him with stealing, but in the particulars of the offense, on the charge sheet, you cannot write stealing, because stealing is a conclusion the court will come to. So what do they write? Give me the particulars of the offense, I'll show them. So the elements of stealing, therefore, are as follows. Dishonest appropriation of a thing without the consent of the owner. So they will say that you so and so dishonestly appropriated. They don't say in a charge sheet that you so and so stole or you have stolen, because that stealing is a conclusion the court must come to. Now, finally, show me same size application, the charge sheet with the word stealing, and I'll show the viewers how this is very, very bad. Okay, this is it. This is what Srem Sai has put in the charge sheet, for instance. Look at it. Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludiba, 39 years old. That's you, between February 2017 and February 2019, in Accra, in the Greater Accra region, and within the jurisdiction of this court, did, while purporting to make payments from funds of the National Buffer Stock Company Limited to Aludiba Enterprise, your personal trading name and style, for foodstuff purchases, steal. Okay, so we put the steal. They says that you made payments meant a prosecution, a charge sheet should be specific. What payment? 3 payments, 4 payments, 5 payments, 16 payments. He doesn't say it. He just writes payments. He thinks he's writing literature. No, charge sheet is technical. That's why many lawyers don't want to be prosecutors, because it's a very difficult work and you need to have attention to detail. If your lifestyle is taking photographs in a lift, you cannot be a great prosecutor. So listen to more of what he says. Buffer Stock Company, Abdullah, blah, blah, for foodstuffs purchase, steal the sum of about. I mean, how can the Attorney General write the sum that has been stolen and he calls it about? He doesn't know the sum that has been stolen. I mean, this is serious. He says you stole the sum of about 5,495,748 Ghana cedis and 36 pesos. About saying you are writing a specific figure. So say you stole this amount of money, but what is you stole about 10 cedis. You are going to prosecute somebody. You don't tell him how much you are prosecuting him for. You, the prosecutor, you don't seem to know. You are calling it about. And then he puts the word steal. That you steal the sum. How do you, it's the court that must come to the conclusion. So he must have been writing according to what lawyers who are seasoned in prosecution are telling me. He must be writing, you appropriated the sum. You did that, you use other words. But stealing is technical in that sense, and it speaks to the matter. Get me some size photograph in the left and let me end this conversation. It's very, very dangerous. It's very, very bad. I mean, this is serious. So, Justice. Okay? This your photograph is not bad at all, but this is not what you should be doing, okay? Get more serious. Get to the work. Deliver the work. The reason why I'm asking you to deliver the work is not because you are my brother, even though you are, but it's because the taxpayer is paying you. And I can say that because I was paying taxes before you started paying taxes. I know that for sure, just because I'm older than you. And I've been working for a long time. So I've been paying taxes before you started paying taxes. So I am worried about the money that the taxpayers' money is being put to. They give you tax money. You travel by the taxpayers' money. You collect dollars and pounds to travel by the taxpayers' money. You go to sit in business class by the taxpayers' money. You arrive in London, and then the Ghana High Commission people, they must wake up at 4 a.m. because they are also on the taxpayers' money to come and meet you at the airport, carry your bag, and take it inside London, a journey of sometimes an hour. They wake up at 4 a.m. to come and meet you, all on the taxpayers' money. Then you go and carry policemen and soldiers. Every day you are going to court, policemen and soldiers on the taxpayers' money. I do not mind because it forms part of the perquisites of your office. So I do not mind. You can enjoy the perquisites of your office. But as Legon Hall said, to whom much is given, much is expected. Please set up and do your work to the glory of the name of the president who appointed you. If you love John Dramani Mahama, shine so that his name will shine. So far, you are dim and you are wasting time, and what you are doing at the Attorney General's department is just completely horrendous. It's crass and it's below par. Stop these photographs in lift. It won't help you. It won't take you anywhere. Forget about photographs in lift and do the work. I hope you take the advice. This is very serious. Viewers, I don't think I have anything more useful to let's take 2 text messages and we wrap it. I'm sorry, it's 29 minutes past 11. I'm very sorry about this. Ikwa, give us one, Fatih one, and then we'll finish.
Okay. Thank you very much, Paul. This is coming from Sami Yebo Alabi Jr. He says, Uncle Paul, I teach in Kumasi. Every term we pick a powerful book, read and discuss together. I would like to order 40 copies of your book. What do I do? And finally, coming from General A.O. Coleman, he says, this deputy AG is on excursion. He seems not to understand the law and its responsibilities. The Hanan case has exposed his incompetence. Over to you, Fatih.
Right, thank you. Your family says, what has transpired so far about the case involving Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab is telling us Deputy Attorney General and the government do not have tangible evidence to back the charges against Mr.
Thank you. It's come over to me. All right. I have a 57th birthday celebration to Ekwa Seram. Ekwa Seram, you are 57, I should say. 57 years old today. God bless you. And all the lawyers are sending me something. Okay. So I have to say good evening to the Honorable Ken Ejapong. I understand that he's watching. The indefatigable Kennedy Ejapong. Former member of parliament and former presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. Very, very good man. Kennedy Ejapong is a very good man. I understand that you are watching. Gaiji sent it to me. Gaiji, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, yes. I have an announcement to make. So HB&O Legal is hosting the inaugural of HB&O Legal Interlaw Firm Charity Fundraising Quiz Competition. This is happening and it is described as a night of trivia on Wednesday, 29th July, which is next week. This is a high-energy evening that brings together law firms to answer trivia, connect, and contributes to a worthy cause. Participation fees and sponsorship funds will be pooled and donated to a charity selected by the winning team. The real prize is not the trophy, it is the difference we will make together. And the venue is the Beer Garden at Nyaniba Estate in Osu, HBO and Legal. We'll put it on our social media page so people can see it. Viewers, the weekend is approaching. So much to gossip about this weekend. Where would you be? I will be at the University of Ghana on for the congregation. So I just might bump into Julius Deborah. I have friends of mine who are collecting PhDs as well. I'm very, very proud of them. And I'll be at the University of Ghana to support them on Saturday morning. And then we'll see how it goes from there. Also, this weekend, celebrating 60 years of existence, Carlos Ahinkra, former member of parliament for Tema West, is celebrating his 60th anniversary. He's already done a church service and he has a big party this weekend somewhere in Accra. Maybe I'll pass through that place. So if you are there, we can have a chat and help our country together. Also celebrating a 60th anniversary this weekend is Madame Eva Mens, the very affable and distinguished Chief Director of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. For those of you who don't know Eva, you remember the time Ken Ofori-Atta appeared in Parliament for the censure motion. This very pretty lady who was sitting there operating the iPad and reminding the Minister of Stuff did very well, and the Minister came out very well. That's Eva Mens. She celebrates her birthday this weekend, and I'm sure many people will be there. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching this edition of the show. I hope that I didn't take too much of your time, and if I did, I hope that it was worthy. Really sorry for taking that much of your time. Thank you, viewers, and good night.
God will punish you guys. God will deal with you. God will punish you. Me say NDC ni bia penyi bia ene oyonko yadenatum 20 years. Would said I'm telling you, NDC ni bia we are involved in Galamsey. You die before your time. God will punish you guys. God will deal with you. God will punish you. Me say NDC ni bia penyi bia.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
No, 1,000 times no. Jesus the Christ did not come to start a new religion, but to impart the life of God to humans, to regenerate them into sons of